Welcome to the Geico ESPN High School Kickoff, part of the ESPNU Summer of Next, presented by Geico. In Northwest Ohio this afternoon from Gallagher Stadium, Central Catholic and Benedictine about to do battle. Good to have you with us, everyone. Thanks for joining us, Mike, Corey, Rini, and Golia. Good to be with you again this season, my friend.
Great to be back with you, Mike.
All right, well, what are we in store for here this afternoon with these two teams?
Well, not only is this game loaded with talent, but, how often do we get to start a season with two defending state champions? And that's what we have today.
Well, that's what we do have, and Central Catholic winning it last year, a team that's been fired up for this game for a long time.
Yeah, led by Coach Greg Dempsey, 16 years here, the winningest coach in Central Catholic history, and just a great program.
And Benedictine, state champions from a year ago as well. Now both teams will be competing in Division III here in the state of Ohio. They may end up seeing each other later this season if it all goes well for them. What about who we're going to see here in today's games of the top players?
Yeah, for Benedictine, Justin Lane, he's number 254 in the ESPN 300, 41st ranked wide receiver. He's verbal to Michigan State. He's 6'3", he's 190 pounds. He's lengthy, he's athletic, causes matchup problems on the outside with smaller DBs, can go up and high point the ball. And oh, by the way, Mike, 8 interceptions last year on defense. He's an all-around great player.
A lot of two-way players that you'll see this afternoon as well. We talked to Zach Sandwich yesterday for Central Catholic.
Yeah, really impressed with Zach Sandwich. You see, verbal to West Virginia. He's a 6'2", 220-pound middle linebacker. Quintessential middle linebacker. Can play all 3 downs, doesn't come off the field. Sideline to sideline, great athleticism. He's going to be the perfect linebacker for West Virginia against those Big 12 offenses.
Weather here this afternoon, temperature at 78 degrees and a chance of showers, Rini, we'll have to see.
I tell you, it's a little humid. I live in Florida where it's nothing but humidity. I came up here to Ohio. It was great last night. A little humid right now, but not bad.
They've been tailgating in the parking lots since the early morning hours today here at Central Catholic.
Yeah, absolute college atmosphere. I've never seen that at a high school venue before, and they are ready for this one.
And Zach Hoover will do the honors and squibs it right in front. Did a nice job to be picked up by Benedictine. And that was by Spencer Johnson.
Yeah, and you said nice job by Johnson. They just try to do a power squib, get it down there, try to limit the athleticism of Benedictine, and a good job by Johnson to field that ball. And just like that, really good field position for Benedictine to start this game.
And our first look at Brian Scheffler, the senior at 6'2", 195 for Benedictine. What does he bring to the table?
A big, strong kid. He started for 4 years. This is his 4th year at quarterback. Has a good arm, but his intelligence is what separates him. A very good leader.
He'll go from the shotgun to start. First down and 10, Benedictine. And he wants to go deep. And has a man, and it is caught. The reception by Devon Johnson down to the 5-yard line. Keyshawn Phillips saved the touchdown. First play goes big.
Boy, just like that, a little play action, good pocket protection. Scheffler, good drop, and then Devon Johnson was in the slot to the left. Nice ball, puts air under it, does Scheffler, and just athleticism and speed by Devon Johnson, a 5'11", 180-pound senior.
That one went for 47 yards. Now they hand it off, and right up the middle, stretching for the touchdown, is Dantes Rash. 2 plays, 6-0, Benedictine.
That's how you start a game if you're Benedictine. Just a little inside zone there to Dantes Rash. Good power, gets behind those pads, powers it in for the touchdown. As you said, Mike, 2 plays, and I tell you what, this Central Catholic crowd is stunned.
28 seconds off the clock to start. And Brandon Kelly adds the extra point. They covered 54 yards after the squib kick to start by Central Catholic, and that's a way to start with an explosion.
Yeah, and you see the inside run here. You see big 71, Nate Moore there. He pulled from that left guard position, and look at Dantes Rash get behind him. Watch 71, and see him pull. Good footwork there, and you love how Rash gets behind him. Donovan Corlew, 74, good job. Good drive there by that Benedictine offensive line, and Rash behind his pads finds the end zone.
Rash has a verbal to Ohio, Rini, but there's other schools potentially in the mix. Ball State, Bowling Green, we'll have to see.
Listen, Frank Solich would love to get Dantes Rash, but it's early. You get verbals. Remember, nothing happens until February 3rd, so they sign that letter of intent. So these coaches were these kids verbal. Boy, they want them to hold on to those verbals, but sometimes schools switch up.
All right, let's go to keys to the game here, Rainey. Didn't really get too long. Central Catholic now already down 7-0.
Look at win special teams. Central Catholic tried a power squib kick. Good job by the special teams of Benedictine to get that good field position. Turnover margin, that's always big in a game. And wrap-up tackling. But I can tell you what, if you're Central Catholic, you gotta guard against the vertical game and the speed of Benedictine. You can't let them run by you on those vertical routes, and that's what happened on that first play of the game.
There's Trayvon Wade. There's a verbal to Eastern Michigan. Back to return the kick for Central Catholic. And a short kick from Brandon Kelly. And received by an up man for Central Catholic, and that was Joseph Dandino. And now a chance to talk offense for Central Catholic, a team that finished 13-2 overall last year. Rini won the state championship in Division III, and their quarterback, Simeon Washington, first time at QB, though, for him in his career.
Started at outside linebacker last year. Played quarterback his entire career, but he hasn't started at the varsity level. His first start, national television against Benedictine. We'll see how he responds today.
And they'll go to the ground and get nothing on their first play. Maybe a yard for Central Catholic to the 40-yard line. Greg Dempsey, who's done a nice job here, 16 years, the all-time winningest coach.
Yeah, and I talked to him a bunch before the game, and he was, he knows how athletic Benedictine is. We'll see how his team answers, though. They need to grind out a first down here just to calm themselves down.
And a handoff to Dion Greer, going for a loss. Connor Bogard there for the tackle. And it's going to be 3rd and 15 for Central Catholic. Not the way they wanted to start their opening series, obviously.
Yeah, and look at Bogard, 280 pounds, and you saw the speed he had firing off that defensive line. Right now, Benedictine is controlling the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and they are getting after today. This is a business trip for Benedictine. They didn't come up last night and stay in a hotel. They drove up today from Cleveland, the hour and a half, and they're ready to play.
3rd and 15, Washington will be sacked. And DeAndre Penny, who is drawing interest from FCS schools, the big DeAndre Penny at 6'4", 200, sacks Washington.
Yeah, forget the FCS schools, because there's going to be FBS schools when it's all over. You see him shed the block, get inside, and use his speed. Penny's 6'4", 200 pounds, but he's got the frame. You look how skinny he is there. He's got the frame where he could carry 230 or 240 with that athleticism. Believe me, before it's all said and done this year, there's going to be some bigger schools after DeAndre Penny.
Two-sport athlete with basketball under his belt as well. Great kick here. And on the return, Justin Lane will be featured at the open, and he'll be brought down immediately. Flags are down on the play. Pretty good punt by Zach Hoover, 47 yards, and we'll get the call.
And excellent coverage there by Central Catholic. You do not want to let Justin Lane get away in space. He's that dangerous of an athlete.
Number 8 on the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Our referee, Steve Miller, today. An illegal block in the back on the return. We'll back up Benedictine, but they lead it 7-0. Takes us to our first timeout. 9:43 to play in the first quarter. It was just 28 seconds, though, into the first quarter, and Benedictine struck with Rash. We'll be back.
Geico ESPN High School Kickoff is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And Subway restaurants. Get to Subway for the new turkey and bacon guacamole today. Subway, eat fresh.
Benedictine on top 7-0 here in Toledo, Ohio. Before the game, Central Catholic head coach Greg Dempsey in the locker room.
Let's go, guys.
It's your turn. A lot of great stuff's happened. You've been a part of it. Now it's your time. You go out there and show everybody what you're made of. You've worked hard. You've done everything that's been asked you, and you're ready to go. I will tell you a couple things here real quickly. It's about going out there, playing fast, playing fearless, and playing physical. That's what it's about. Every phase of the game, every position, you're physical. You're a lineman, you're physical. You're a receiver, you're physical. The kickoff team, you're physical. You're not even smart. Knock it out. That's what you're doing. Let's go.
Well, sometimes, Rini, you know what it's all about here. National TV,
Yeah.
First game of the season. Might take them a little bit to get going.
Came out a little bit, shell-shocked with that first drive by Benedictine, but Coach Dempsey's right. They have to get physical in this game. They have to contain the big plays from Benedictine.
Benedictine in their second offensive series. This handoff to DeCavalon Reese. They go with Dantes Rash and DeCavalon Reese, and the head coach for Benedictine, Joe Schaefer, now in his third season, 33-5. What him and his staff have done have been outstanding. They've got a lot of alumni on the staff, too.
He is one of the great young coaches in Ohio football, former defensive end at Bowling Green. He knows the game. He's an aggressive style of a coach, and you can see it with his players.
2nd and 9. Back to Reese. And not much off to the left side. Their first two plays from scrimmage, Rini, a 47-yard pass, a 7-yard touchdown run. What's happening on this series here?
And Coach Greg Dempsey said his team has to limit the big plays from Benedictine, make them drive the ball, but keep them out of the end zone. And that's what they're doing now in this series. They're getting off the ball, winning at the point of attack, and they're making some tackles. This is a big 3rd and long for Central Catholic's defense.
Justin Lane, the top wide receiver, at the bottom of your screen with a verbal to Michigan State. Do they go his direction? They do. Lane, and overthrown, incomplete.
And I tell you what, they almost had another home run. Lane broke that route into a post. If he would have just stemmed that off and kept it straight as he takes on the D-back Trevon Wade, who, by the way, is 5'10". Lane 6'3". Boy, if he just stems it, goes a little straighter with that route, they have another home run. You cannot let athletes with speed like that get behind you. If you're Trevon Wade playing that corner spot, you have to give him a cushion.
On time for Benedictine, and it's the quarterback, Scheffler, that will kick it away. Joe Dandino, Wade set midfield for Central Catholic. Dandino mishandles it. And does he get back on it? He does. It'll stay with Central Catholic, and we'll take another timeout. 8:15 to play first quarter. Benedictine on top 7-0 back after this. Well, here we are, Rini, in Toledo, Ohio. Cleveland, about an hour and a half away. That's where Benedictine is from.
Yeah, and this was kind of a battle of Northwest Ohio versus Northeast Ohio. In this state, the Northeast guys, they get a lot of accolades. Cleveland, Columbus and Cincinnati. So Central Catholic Toledo really wanted to carry the mantle for the Northwest part of the state.
And welcome to the opening as part of the ESPNU Summer of Next, presented by Geico. Here from Gallagher Stadium, Mike Corey, Rini and Golia, good to have you with us today. This is game 5 of 10. We've got 10 games this weekend on the ESPN family of networks, with 33 seniors among the ESPN top 300 playing this weekend.
Yeah, this whole weekend absolutely loaded with talent. Of course, these are the stars that you will see tomorrow at your colleges next year and beyond.
Swing out pass for Central Catholic and their second offensive series of the game, and Marcus Easterly takes it to the midfield line. We've got more games on the way here tonight, Rini. How about this? Out of Georgia, Peachtree Ridge at Archer.
Well, right there, Archer, #1 wide receiver in the nation, Kyle Davis. He's also an Under Armour All-American. Talking about some of that talent, that's a great one coming up at 7 p.m. tonight. So, as you said, just loaded with talent all week.
On the run is Michael Warren here for Central Catholic, about 3 yards shy of a first down, 3rd and short on the way.
And it's important, Mike, for Central Catholic, just get a first down. You don't have to go down and score here. They would love to, but get a first down, get this clock grinding a little bit. Keep that high, potent offense of Benedictine on the bench and grind out some first downs and just gain your composure.
3rd and 3, Washington, and hands it back off again to Warren, and he gets ahead for the first down. Nice run by Michael Warren. He has a verbal to Kentucky. We had a chance to talk with him a little bit yesterday during their walkthrough.
Yeah, and kind of has a chip on his shoulder in a good way. He was looking forward to playing his team. You see good blocking up front. You see the double team there, 64 Javian Martin. And Michael Warren is a kid that he runs angry. And you like that style. He gets behind his pads, and he's not going to run around you. He's going to run through you.
And they want to keep it with him, and Benedictine is ready for it this time, and he's just gang tackled for a loss in the backfield. Warren yesterday, it just took him a couple of minutes to open up, and we had asked about the players playing both ways, which a lot of high school players do. He says everybody plays both ways.
And again, he's only a junior now. He verbally committed to Mark Stoops at Kentucky, but he's got a long way to go, that young man. So we'll see how he does today. But, we just saw that Benedictine defense. They can fly to the football. You see how they all get off their blocks and get there. And it's going to be a tough day for Michael Warren if they keep getting off blocks like that.
He's a cornerback on defense. That was a loss of 7 on a first down play. Flags fly as Washington is tripped up, and we'll get the call here from Steve Miller in a moment. Connor Bogard again. Some pressure for Benedictine, and Marlon Hamilton also.
Yeah, big Marlon Hamilton, 300 pounds right over the center, playing that nose guard position. He is causing havoc up front to that Central Catholic offensive line.
Legal formation. Not on men on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
And Benedictine will decline the penalty. It'll bring up 3rd down.
What, big Marlon Hamilton? He liked Leonardo DiCaprio.
I saw that.
Favorite actor? Wouldn't think that. Big man.
It's very subjective.
Yes.
Especially in the Hollywood world. Washington, 3rd and long, dumps it off. And here we go with Washington, but not nearly enough for the first down. Run out by Justin Lane, the wideout for Benedictine, and also the cornerback on their defensive side of the ball to commit to Michigan State.
Yeah, it's a good call. Safe call, 3rd and long. You usually go screen and draw. They go screen there to Warren. Picks up some nice yardage to get it back manageable. Now it's a field position game. You want to, as we said in the open, win the special teams here. You want to try to pin them back and then get out there and play good defense.
It was going well with Warren for a little bit. Then they had that loss of 7 that really set them back. Hoover trying to pin Benedictine deep and does so nicely. Will they down it before it goes into the end zone? They will not. And there is another flag down at the 30-yard line.
Boy, and big George Meyer, 34, had a chance to keep that ball out of the end zone. That would have been really good for Central Catholic to try to pin Benedictine back. They can't make that play. Those are the plays you got to make, especially when you're playing a good team like Benedictine and Cleveland.
55 on the return team. 10-yard penalty.
It's a hold on Connor Bogard for Benedictine, and they'll have it deep in their own territory when we come back. 7-0 here from Toledo, Ohio, down the halls of Central Catholic High School. More with the Geico ESPN High School Kickoff after this. 7-0 Benedictine on top over Central Catholic as we welcome you back to Toledo, Ohio. There's 2 identical twins, the Greer brothers for Central Catholic. And here's Darian Greer on this last play. Watch him bottom of your screen, number 7, Reedy.
He's a tough kid. 5'5", 145 pounds. Watch him come in here, boom, take on the big linebacker, Jalen James, 5'11", 230 pounds. A little size difference there, but I love the effort by Darian Greer there to come in there, throw his body around. You love that out of wide receivers.
Number 7, Greer, and his brother Dion Greer, number 8. 7 and 8 for Central Catholic in red. We'll have to see what they do throughout this game. 2 guys that are size is really what's prohibiting them probably from getting to, potentially, Division I. They're speedsters.
They're both very explosive. They got good quickness. It's just their size. They're both listed at 5'5", 145 pounds, which means they're probably a little smaller than that. We all know what the list means. So, but I think they're 2 kids that will get a shot to play in college, whether it's Division III or Division II level. No doubt about that.
Coach Dempsey said that some school's going to get a real steal with one of those 2 guys. Scheffler from the shotgun for Benedictine, 2nd and 9. 3 wide to the bottom of the screen, but it's an inside handoff. And pushing the pile up front, like you talked about earlier, Rini, with that offensive front and the size difference here in this ball game from Benedictine to Central Catholic, as that was rash with the run.
You know, I always tell people, you build teams from the inside out, and inevitably, whatever team can win the line of scrimmage normally wins the game. And right now, Benedictine's getting good push off the line of scrimmage against Central Catholic.
Here's Dantes Rash to the outside, and he stretches it and will get the first down for Benedictine. And again, that offensive line and that push up front.
Well, and when you got a skill athlete like Dantes Rash with that speed, even when the hole's clogged, you see him bounce that to the left side of the field, he still picks up that first down. So, you know, when you have the power to move the line between the tackles, but then you have the skill players to get on the outside, get on the perimeter, you are a dangerous unit.
That's 66, TJ Beltavsky with the verbal commit to Ball State, or a third-year starter for this team.
Yeah, Pete Lembo is getting a great player in TJ Beltavsky. Offensive line coach John Strollo, I know him well. He will be really happy with TJ.
Not much on this run. And look at what Beltavsky does in the offseason.
Yeah, this is a 300-pound kid, and look how athletic he is playing that center position. And you love it because, you know, Mike, you see more and more now the centers, they'll pull themselves if they got good feet and they're quick, and Beltavsky has that type of athleticism from that center position.
Probably during the season as well, too, huh? Here's Dantes Rash again up the middle for Benedictine. Getting close, but about 4 yards shy of a first down. James Hudson on the tackle. And with Beltavsky, too, in the classroom with a 4.0 GPA, along with Scheffler, the quarterback, those two, they're vying it out for the Chuck Noll Academic Award. Chuck Noll, a former alumnus of Benedictine.
Boy, and you see that block right there as he moves out Ian Meacham. You know, Meacham's a 250-pound nose guard, and I tell you, Beltavsky just moves him right out, opens that hole over the zero gap.
3rd down and 4. Under 4 to go in this first quarter. Play clock at 3. And looks like they're going to take a timeout. They will. So they weren't going to get that play off. Now, speaking of Chuck Noll, for notable alumni from Benedictine, 4-time Super Bowl coach of the Steelers, of course. How about Tom Weiskopf, the 1973 Open Championship winner, and 5 times was second in the Masters as well.
Football got everything in the alumni from Benedictine.
The Geico ESPN High School football kickoff continues tomorrow. How about Miramar and number 2 IMG Academy? Rini, they have 17 players that are ranked in the ESPN database.
Absolutely loaded is IMG, you know, led by the number 2 quarterback, dual threat in the nation, Shea Patterson, who's verbal to Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze, and he's an Under Armour All-American. So as you said, IMG loaded.
7 players in the top 300. Here's a look at some of the numbers here this weekend. We talked about 33 players in the ESPN 300. How about the ESPN Junior 300?
And I should say, you see these rankings, folks, they'll change throughout the year. You know, ESPN Recruiting Nation does an unbelievable job. They're watching film each and every week, and players will move. They might move from number 2 to 4 and drop, and some people that aren't in the ESPN 300 after a good season will move up. So it's a great site to go for information, ESPNrecruiting.com.
Warren Saba wide out in motion. Here comes some pressure, and it is in his direction. He makes the catch, but is decked on the spot of the 30-yard line by Keith Smith. Excellent tackle, and it prevents them from getting a first down, just a yard shy at their own 30-yard line.
Yeah, and he prevented a first down, did Keith Smith. Watch him come up. Listen to this hit. Good job, drives him back. Saba does a nice job making the catch, but it's 4th and 1. And Central Catholic's going to force Benedictine to punt here.
Watch the ball! Watch the ball! Watch the ball!
So Scheffler on 4th down and 1. Dandino back to return again for Central Catholic. Almost gave it up and muffed it the last time. We'll see what happens here. Makes a clean catch inside of his own 30. And nowhere to go. And we saw the offense early from Benedictine, but what about the defense from these players so far here against Central Catholic.
Yeah, I mean, we knew how explosive that offense was. Averaged over 35 points a game last year, but look how they just get off blocks there. Connor Bogard right there. Marlon Hamilton just controlling the line of scrimmage. And then DeAndre Penny, number 6, the lanky defensive end. Just speed and athleticism all over the field for Benedictine. And if you're Central Catholic, it's hard when you go up a team that athletic all the way around the field.
And 9 returning starters on defense for Benedictine as well. That certainly helps the case, as evident of what you just saw. I saw a great tackle from Penny, who you talked about moments ago. And here's Warren taken down from behind at the 40. Lane plays basketball as well, our recruit going to Michigan State. Number 254 in the ESPN 300. He's the scorer, and Penny is the defender. 4 blocks a game on average for him.
So you know Penny likes that physicalness inside. Again, look at his frame. He's got room to build on there. I think that kid can be one heck of a defensive end.
1st and 10 as Warren is starting to get going a little bit here for Central Catholic. Picks up 5 yards. Back to Lane, the two-way player. He's also a track star as well. I mean, you look at some of his numbers: 5 feet in the high jump, 20 feet, 9 inches in the long jump.
College recruiters love 3-sport athletes. There's no doubt about it. You know, again, he's verbal to Michigan State. That's a great get for Mark D'Antonio up there. And if he sticks with that commitment, they are getting an unbelievable athlete that they'll probably play wide receiver with that body. But when you're an athlete like that, there's multiple positions you can play. You can beef him up. You can play him in the secondary. Can do anything with him.
Well, you talk about Michigan State, look at their wide receiver group. Their top 2 returning wide receivers, and McGarrett Kings and Aaron Burbridge, they're seniors. You got Connor Cook there, of course, at quarterback. That's awesome. But those 2 wide receivers, they did not redshirt. So not all, more than likely that you might see a little bit of playing time potentially.
No doubt. And it's a great program. And they're number 12 in the recruiting nation class rankings as well as Michigan State.
Warren putting his head down for Central Catholic. 1st down run. Lane runs him out of bounds. He's got 7 carries now for 28 yards.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to Michael Warren. He's the workhorse here. Good blocking up front. Gets outside. And then you see Lane come up, not afraid to stick the shoulder in there and make the tackle. But a good run by Michael Warren to try to get something going for Central Catholic.
There's Dion Greer. We talked about his brother moments ago. And now Greer, the other one, gets into the act inside the 40-yard line, down to the 38.
Boy, I really like what Dion Greer did right there. They ran a speed sweep, which usually you want to get to the perimeter. It was all blocked off, and he cuts it right up. You see Warren 40 there lead the way, but Dion Greer, again, 5'5", 145, puts those shoulders down and gets up to the middle of the field, pick up positive yardage.
These 2 teams, no huddle, wasting no time, and it's Simeon Washington on the keeper this time, the quarterback with a 1st down run as our clock in the 1st quarter approaches the 1-minute mark.
Well, and I tell you, Mike, as really one-sided as this 1st quarter has felt with Benedictine, only up 7-0. Central Catholic's got a nice drive going here. If they put points on the board, they're right back in this ball game.
They settled in.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Forced Benedictine on their 2nd series to a 3-and-out. Forced them to punt again this last time. Pretty good field position. Now they're in position to try to get some points on the board. We've got a stoppage and a timeout. Benedictine takes their 2nd timeout of the 1st half. Coach Joe Schaefer, Benedictine class of 2004. Mentioned earlier, it's good when you have cohesiveness in your staff, and it's 7 alumni in the coaching staff for this group.
Oh, yeah, and a young bunch. A lot of these guys have played together. You see how intense Coach Joe Schaefer is right there getting after his players. But you hit on it before, Mike. It looks like Central Catholic has settled down. Greg Dempsey has his team calmed down. And I was talking to offensive coordinator Chad Hunnebrinker from Central Catholic before the game, and he said, listen, he knew how athletic Benedictine was as well. They were going to try to get multiple sets, multiple formations, maybe some unbalance, and there seems like they're able to do that right now, picking up some yards in the running game with Michael Warren.
I was going to say, you got 6 plays on this drive with 3 first downs. They've all been rushing with Central Catholic.
Yeah. Well, and they're just trying to get this clock grinding out. They don't want to let Benedictine offense on that field, big play capability. Listen, the best defense is offense. Sustain drives and put points up.
Well, here's what we were talking about earlier with the tailgating starting early here at Central Catholic in Toledo, Ohio. They were ready for this one. They're excited.
It's a college atmosphere. We were talking to the athletic director, Dan Gill. They have 274 parking spaces for tailgating. Every one of them sold out for the entire season. That's how committed this Central Catholic fan base is.
Might have been 275. They had to save one for us, though. Warren, and he's caught in the backfield this time. Under a minute to go in this first quarter of action. Brandon Quarterman with a tackle, number 20 there in white for Benedictine.
Yeah, they went a little wildcat there. They took Simeon Washington out, put Michael Warren in there, and to no avail. The Benedictine defense, snuffed that one out and made a tackle for a loss.
Second and 13 with 30 seconds to play first quarter, Central Catholic. There's Trayvon Wade. And the clock continues to run. That's Jalen James. And there's Justin Lane once again on defense for Benedictine.
And you see Central Catholic kind of slowing the tempo down. I asked Coach Dempsey, how quick do you like to go? He said, we let the game dictate it. So no doubt they want to go a little slower pace and just try to grind it out on the ground here against this very athletic Benedictine defensive front.
Well, they will wait for the second quarter, and when we come back, it'll be 3rd down and 7 for Central Catholic, settling in and a chance to get points on this drive. We're in Toledo, Ohio today for high school football opening weekend. Benedictine coming from Cleveland and started out strong. They've got the first points today. Will Central Catholic come back and tie it up? We'll find out after this. You're watching the opening as part of the ESPNU Summer of Next, presented by Geico. Welcome back to Toledo, Ohio. Central Catholic, the home team, trailing 7-0 to Benedictine here as we continue with our coverage this weekend. 10 games on the ESPN networks. And here's what we had to start the game. Ready, a little squib kick here by Central Catholic, trying to catch Benedictine off guard, but it was really them that did it to Central Catholic on the first play of the game.
Yeah, so it opens up a big special teams play, getting a good field position, and the home run right off the bat. Scheffler to Devon Johnson, and then the payoff, Dantes Rash for the touchdown.
And our yards in the first quarter of action, so not a lot of passing yards for Central Catholic here. They had 6 straight runs, but they were picking up first down, so why go away from it? They had that great back in Michael Warren, who's done well so far.
Yeah, and I mean, since Central Catholic has really calmed down after that first drive, they're playing much better.
3rd and 7 to start the second quarter. A swing out pass to Dion Greer, and Benedictine is ready for it. Taking him down was Barry Middleton.
Boy.
And Warren Saba.
I mean, I almost think you've got a better chance going straight at this Benedictine defense. When you try to go vertical like that on those quick wide receiver screens, they are so fast sideline to sideline. Just look at them get out to the ball, run to the football, and make the tackle.
And they're going for it on 4th down and 7. Washington, and the pass too high off the hands of Arthur Greenlee. And Davell Moore Meeks defending on the play, number 18 for Benedictine.
And if you're Arthur Greenlee, that's one you got to catch. Yeah, it was a little high, but you got to help your quarterback, Simeon Washington, out there. It was a good route. Turned back for the football right at the first down marker. If he would have caught it, he would have had it. But he drops it. But those are the plays you have to make, especially in a big game like this.
And Coach Schaefer there talking to Moore Meeks for Benedictine.
Well, he wasn't in the spot where he needed to be. He didn't drop back into the coverage. That's where he should have been. Did a good job recovering to make the hit on Greenlee, but nonetheless, it was just a drop by Greenlee.
So Brian Scheffler back on offense here. In motion goes Michael Lacey. It'll be Dantes Rash, upended by Keith Smith. A couple of nice tackles today by the senior at 5'7", 185 for Central Catholic.
Yeah, and Smith will come up and throw his body around. You see him comes a little low on the running back, and he wins that battle. But this is how you come up and meet a running back. You see Rash through the whole little off balance, and look at, come in there. Good job by number 9, Keith Smith. Get that head up a little bit. I'd like him a little higher on that, but it was a good tackle.
Four wide receivers, hand off though to the Cavalon Reese, and they are ready for him. Jordan Parker for Central Catholic. Now this is a team, Benedictine, reading that last year at 75% run and 25% pass. I mean, they outscored their opponents in the highest scoring season in their school history.
They run a spread, but don't let that fool you. It's a spread like Auburn runs it at Gus Malzahn. They go 10 personnel, 4 wide receivers, 1 back, but they are run heavy out of this spread formation with multiple sets.
3rd and 7. Scheffler, pressure from behind, and just has to get rid of it. Robert Gaston chasing him down to the sideline. 4th and 7, they'll have to punt. The championship drive to the college football playoff begins Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on ESPNU. Get an in-depth look at who's in and who's out exclusively on ESPNU, presented by Capital One.
I mean, I tune in every Monday at 6, because even though I'm a college football analyst and traveling around, you can't see all the games. So this is where you want to get all your information as this college football season gets underway.
This weekend is the opening weekend for high school football. Here we have 10 games with 5 more to go after us here today.
Yeah, we're right sandwiched right in the middle.
Let's go,
Flag down as Scheffler kicks it away. Dandino from the 32. And can't get by Dantes Rash. Let's get the flag.
You have a marker on the field.
And you saw 2 men moving in the backfield that time for Benedictine. They'll ask Coach Greg Dempsey if he wants to take this penalty or decline it, where they return the punt to.
Illegal motion. 2 men shifted in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 4th down.
Illegal motion on Benedictine.
And they're going to make him re-kick it, Mike. They're going to take the 5 yards, make him re-kick it, and try to get better field position out of it.
How about for a team that comes from on the road, you know, when you have the first game of the season, it's national TV here, everybody's fired up for Central Catholic. I say easier, but a little bit different for the away team.
I like what Coach Joe Schaefer did. He didn't bring them down last night. A lot of coaches will put them in a hotel. You know, sometimes the kids are messing around. They're not. He kept them home. It was a business trip. They drove in before the game, an hour and a half, and they were ready to play. I was down on the field, very intense and ready to go.
Bandino lets this one bounce. And they'll gain a few yards out of it. First and 10 at the 35 when we come back. How about the verbal commit to West Virginia, Zach Sandwich for Central Catholic. Trying to make his presence felt here early in this one.
Well, you see how athletic he is. I told you he could run sideline to sideline. That's how you meet the quarterback. We'll be back to Toledo after this.
Well, this is where the 2 teams played their state championship games at Ohio Stadium. And how about the Buckeyes, of course, the national champions?
Yeah.
A lot happens here in this state.
Well, you know, they played their way in the end of the season, deservedly so. Urban Meyer, a phenomenal job and does a great job recruiting. And that's what you got to do at these elite programs. You got to bring players in, and you take a look right there, the number 1 ranked defensive end in the country, number 3 overall in the ESPN 300, Nick Bosa, St. Thomas Aquinas down in Fort Lauderdale. We saw him last night on the air, had a great game as his team dominate Booker T. Washington last night. And I tell you, Mike, when you're Urban Meyer, you know, you can own the recruiting ground here in Ohio, but when you can go to Florida and Texas and grab guys,
right.
and that's really what sets your program apart.
Central Catholic now, their 4th offensive series of the game, slightly getting better each time. They went 3 and out in the first series, 6 plays, then 10 plays on the last one, though, Rini, but they turned it over on downs.
Yeah, I mean, I think offensive coordinator Chad Hundebrinker is just trying to feel it out, see what's working. Can I attack him between the tackles? Can I go vertical? He's feeling it out, trying to see, and he'll go with what works best for him.
4 wide receiver set here. A pump fake from Washington, and this one is caught. He has Arthur Greenlee, and this time makes the catch inside the 30. A first down and more. He was one of that 4th down pass play and now redeems himself here.
Well, that's how you make it up. You go back and you catch the ball. I love the very next time they go back to 11, Arthur Greenlee, he goes up and makes the catch. Good protection. Throw was a little behind Greenlee, but he does a good job adjusting. Look at him high point it, go up there, make that catch, and a big first down for Central Catholic.
36 yards now to the ground, and Michael Warren as they start to pick up speed here. Warren brought down by Justin Lane, or verbal commit to Michigan State. And the quarterback position. Last year, Rainey, this guy in Lane, they moved him to corner in week 7, ends up with a team-high 8 interceptions.
Yeah, it's just an incredible athlete, goes to show you. But I tell you what, he went low right there, and it's Michael Warren, because Warren is an angry runner with the football.
And Warren again, and he will pick up the first down, stretching it to the 15-yard line.
Yeah, he's the type of runner, Mike. If you can just sustain any push up front with the offense line, you see him there getting excited. He's a low center of gravity, powerful guy, big lower body, gets behind his pads really well, and he will carry tacklers for 2-3 yards.
42 yards for Warren so far in this first half. And just a junior, as you mentioned earlier, a verbal commit to Kentucky. 2 players in this Central Catholic team committed to Kentucky. And Warren shut down this time. Dantes Rash tripped him up. That's why you said earlier when we saw it, with not just the ESPN 300 in terms of the seniors, there's the ESPN Junior 300, because it just comes earlier and earlier in high school these days in terms of recruiting.
And a player like Michael Warren, he bursts onto the scene with a good game here, and then all of a sudden he's on the radar for the ESPN 300 next year. And that's how, although he's a verbal commit to Mark Stoops at Kentucky as a junior, boy, a lot can change in a year and a half.
Second down again, Warren. And Benedictine. What a play by Davell Moore-Meeks, who's got some MAC offers as well as Syracuse. Here's a look at the ESPN Junior 300 class.
Well, yeah, and just unbelievable athletes. And you see 4 commitments there from the junior class. A lot could change. I remember one, Robert Kimdichie had committed. We did his game to Clemson and ended up going to Ole Miss. A lot changes.
What did you say about the line play? Look at that. The top 6 players, 5 of the top 6 are either offensive or defensive linemen.
Yeah, and you're always going to see defensive ends. That's a premium position high up in the ESPN 300 rankings.
Trayvon Wade in trouble on a 3rd down and 9 play. And Davell Moore-Meeks again, first on the scene.
Yeah, Moore-Meeks is a lighter middle linebacker, 205 pounds, but he is fast. He can run to the football. We saw him come up and make a hit the play before. And this time, Mike, they just string this play out. And again, Central Catholic trying to go wide against the speed of Benedictine to no avail. I just thought they had better yardage in between the tackles going Michael Warren downhill. He tried to get vertical, tried to get to the perimeter with them, and it's just too fast is that Benedictine defense.
Well, we didn't see much of this last year or the last 2 years for Central Catholic. They attempted only 3 field goals in the last 2 years. This one is a 40-yard attempt for Zach Hoover. They like his leg. He has the distance. It's good. Count it for Zach Hoover from 40 yards, and Central Catholic is on the board.
Well, and they needed that. They needed to get some points, needed to get this crowd going. Great job by Zach Hoover, the righty. A little draw spin on that, like a little 5-iron, and he pops it in from 40 yards.
Going to be a preferred walk-on at Toledo next year, right here in his hometown. Central Catholic's on the board. There it is, Rainey, The Rock. It's painted each week by the art department getting ready for the games here at Central Catholic. And, of course, the ESPN theme this week here.
That's some great framing there. Great camera work.
Excellent,
I love that, Rock.
Excellent work by our crew. 7-3, Benedictine on top here over Central Catholic as we have 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Here's their state championship photo from last year. Division III champions. They've won 39 of the last 43 games.
It's an unbelievable program. You see the stadium that they have here, and And, you know, a lot of disadvantaged kids come to this school. And Coach Greg Dempsey, he's not only a good coach, he's a father figure to a lot of these kids, and really pushes the family atmosphere, and it's just an excellent program.
4 state championships, 1962, the media vote, and then they've won 3 when the playoffs began in 1972 in the state of Ohio.
And Coach said he talked to his kids, and I talked about this earlier in the game, that kind of, you know, carrying the mantle for Northwest Ohio football against the quote-unquote big boys from the Northeast, from Cleveland. And so far, after that first drive, they've settled right in, and they've played excellent football at Central Catholic.
After the 40-yard field goal, 7-3, Benedictine awaiting this kick, and it's Warren Saba who's back deep. So Zach Hoover maybe will change their mind a little bit on how many times they want to go for field goals throughout the season. He's got a very strong leg, like we said, going to Toledo next year. Another squibber. Saba lets it go out of bounds.
Boy, and they're not going to throw a flag. They're going to say Saba touched it, or is there a flag on the play?
Well, did he touch it? Yes, you're absolutely right, Ray. He did. He deflected it. Yeah.
No flag. The line judge was right on that, saying that Saba touched it, which is a mistake. You either go and pick that ball up and get positive yards, or get away and hope it bounces out of bounds.
6 minutes to go in the second quarter. How about what Joe Schaefer's squad has done here? They started out strong. They've been kind of held in check here as of late.
Listen, if I'm them on offense, I spread out Central Catholic sideline to sideline, and I attack them vertical. You have so much speed and athletes on the outside, and I would go, try to hit them vertical with some big home runs. You did it earlier in the game. They've gotten away from it. I just think they have that much athleticism and speed on the outside.
3 wideouts on this set. Scheffler, and it's too far, looking for Sean Lozada. And I want to know where Justin Lane has been here so far in this ball game for these guys. Raining, no catches, just 1 target so far. The top recruit as of right now with a verbal to Michigan State. I mean, the Michigan State's top recruit.
Well, and we asked Joe Schaefer if they have a set number of plays or touches they want to get Justin Lane. He said no, they don't, that they have enough athletes in their offense that they like to spread it around. But I tell you, when you have an athlete like Justin Lane, I really believe you have to target him, and he will go up and make plays.
Well, they've moved up the football here to the 23-yard line. I didn't see a flag down.
Yeah, I didn't either, Mike. I missed that one, and I missed the call from the referee.
They go back on the ground. This is the Cavallon Reese, and he goes right down the sideline. Stays in to Cavallon Reese, cutting it back, and inside the Central Catholic 35-yard line. Derek Branyon finally brought him down. And they got a strong move to the outside of 44 yards.
We talked about Devon Johnson. We talked about Justin Lane. We were talking about Dantes Raschnau. Number 5, the Cavallon Reese. Tiptoes down the sideline, and I don't think he went out of bounds. He's going to pick up a nice block by Justin Lane, and you love that out of your star receiver. A little stalk block in here. Watch him stay on the DB. Trevon Wade, good job, just enough for his running back Reese to get the corner.
Yeah, Scheffler going deep again, and this one is caught. It's a touchdown for Devon Johnson. 33-yard strike for Benedictine.
And again, vertical. I think that's where they can hurt Central Catholic. You think it's going to be Justin Lane, but it's Devon Johnson, the 5'11", 180-pound senior. But watch this pass by Brian Scheffler. This is called dropping it in the bucket. All Devon Johnson had to do was put his arms out and catch that thing. Beautiful pass by Scheffler. I like how he looked to the left. He was looking at Justin Lane, came across through his progressions, and just threw an absolute beautiful pass to Devon Johnson for the touchdown.
Well, those two know each other well. Johnson's a 3-year starter. Scheffler's a 4-year starter at quarterback, so they've done that quite a few times throughout their career, and it's Benedictine 14 and Central Catholic 3.
Again, quick strike ability, great pass by Scheffler to Devon Johnson, and just like that, Benedictine scores 14-3.
14-3 now. Benedictine on top of Central Catholic. 5:16 to play first half. Mike Corey, Rini Angolia, and Benedictine with their 2 touchdowns. Rini, they've done it quickly. 2 plays, 54 yards in 28 seconds to start the game, and 2 plays, 77 yards, thanks to this big pass play in just 44 seconds from Scheffler to Johnson.
And you see the patience there by quarterback Brian Scheffler. He did the play-action fake, stood in the pocket, stand tall. He's a big kid, 6'2", waited for his receiver, Devon Johnson, just to clear that DB and just threw an absolute perfect pass for the touchdown.
How about for Scheffler, drawing a lot of attention from the Ivy League schools, maybe the Patriot League as well. Very smart kid, 4-0 in the classroom, 4-year starter. Began starting his freshman year when their quarterback got injured. He was thrown into action in week 1. He's been the starter ever since.
And this is a kid, I think, as you said, 4-year starter, very intelligent. If he can have a good year this year, it wouldn't surprise me if some MAC schools come up and offer him before this season's over.
First down to 10 for Central Catholic. We've got so much this season once again. 22 regular season games. Don't miss Recruiting Nation every Thursday at 6 o'clock right here on ESPNU.
Yeah, and then, highlight it with the Under Armour All-American game January 2nd. And, of course, the payoff, February 3rd, National Signing Day. We see if all those verbal commits hold true to putting their names on paper, signing that letter of intent.
High school football opening weekend. We were in Toledo, Ohio here today. 5 more games after us on the ESPN family of networks. This is Toledo's Central Catholic, and Michael Warren, they've given the ball to him a lot on the ground today, and Benedictine out of Cleveland, Ohio. This Northwest Ohio matchup here today.
Yeah, and when you go up against a fast, physical defense, a lot of times the best thing to do is go right at them. Tell your offensive line you have to win the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. Get off, make blocks, and get your running backs running north and south. When you bounce it like that and you get caused to bounce outside, Benedictine's defense is too fast to the football.
And Benedictine's starting to really try to key on Washington there, make it Warren now, who's really been given the load. What about in the pass game? What can they do here differently on 3rd down? 3rd down and 7. They got to put it in the air now.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to have to get some protection. You're going to have to try to go vertical and see. Again, though, very athletic secondary of Benedictine. They tried some bubble screens earlier in the game again. Benedictine flying to the football. We'll see if Central Catholic tries to go vertical themselves a little bit.
Trips to the bottom of the screen. 4 wideouts is Washington, and nobody really home for that one. The closest is Warren Sabo, had a hand on it for Benedictine.
And you see how well coached that Benedictine secondary is. They are the deepest players on the field. They are not letting Central Catholic get beyond them. And that time, Simeon Washington throws that ball into triple coverage. And as you said, Warren Saba, number 17, was the closest one to that football.
Saba stays on the field. He's going to await the punt here from Hoover.
And Saba is the leader of that secondary, makes the calls and kind of gets them in the right spots. And then you'll see him here returning the punt. A very good athlete again. A lot of MAC schools interested in Warren Saba.
Cincinnati's also shown interest in this guy as well from the 17-yard line. Saba. And a flag comes flying in. But a 5-yard return. Zach Sandwich is over there. There he is, 31 for Central Catholic with a verbal to West Virginia. Number 70th ranked outside linebacker, number 46 overall in the state of Ohio.
Again, he's athletic. You said it. Verbal to West Virginia. I talked to him about it. He said he is not decommitting. He loved West Virginia. Dana Holgerson, that program at West Virginia. Again, he's a perfect linebacker
team.
to go up
15-yard
against
penalty.
those Big 12
First down.
offenses. Very fast pace. And as you saw the face mask there by Central Catholic on the punt return as Saba returns here. Take a look here. And unfortunately, it was Zach Sandwich. Got his hand there. He got it off quick.
Pretty quick.
But a little bit of a tug, and it's a good call by the officials. Yeah, you see him. He didn't like the call there, but got it in there a little bit. The camera never lies, Zach. Never lies.
Upset with himself. The verbal to West Virginia. He tore his ACL his sophomore year. We talked to him yesterday. Says it's been fine. He's been great for the last couple of years as he closes out his senior year now here at Central Catholic. A complete 3-down linebacker.
Well, he's another one, 6'2", 215, 220, but you look at his frame, he can put on 20, 25 pounds, but he's very athletic, runs sideline to sideline, and he's a good get for Dana Holgerson at West Virginia.
the Cavalon race. Nice tackle in the backfield by Simeon Washington. That's the quarterback. And then on defense in the linebacker position.
Yeah, and you know, an outside linebacker is probably the position Simeon Washington will play in college, but thrown into the quarterback position this year and doing a good job. A tough start for him, first game ever.
Coming up on 3 minutes to go in this first half. Benedictine on offense, 19 Ohio playoff appearances. They've won 8 state titles in their history. They lead at 14-3.
All boys school. You saw the 420 enrollment. That's all boys there for Benedictine in Cleveland.
Scheffler with time. But good coverage downfield, and is nowhere to go, and it's just clocked. And that one right there, Alec Thompson, or check it, Washington again, Simeon Washington.
Yeah, and that's a coverage sack, Mike. I tell you, Brian Scheffler had all day in the pocket to throw the ball. Just watch. There's good blocking. Right here, he steps up. Right about here, you got to throw the ball. Get rid of it. You stay in there, you're going to take a big hit. And I tell you what, Simeon Washington, this is quarterback on quarterback there as Washington sacks Scheffler.
So he forces Benedictine into a 3rd down and 16 situation here with 2.5 to go in the first half. Now Scheffler, the sideline again, and incomplete. And that was Spencer Johnson, and then he took a huge shot from Derek Branyon there, 19 for Central Catholic. 4th down.
Derek Branyon playing that free safety spot. This is how you play it. You separate man from ball. Watch that. Leads with the shoulder, right to the chest. Perfect. Textbook what you want to do as a safety. Come over, separate man from ball. I tell you what, excellent job there by Derek Branyon.
Well, they've got some physical players themselves too, Rini. I mean, although they don't have potentially the same in terms of the size that we talked about maybe from the line play. Yeah, that's a great athletic play there on defense by Branyon, a senior. And as it's 4th down and 16, Dandino calls for the fair catch and has it at the 36. Let's take a look at some of the top prospects in the state of Ohio. You know, and that's like you said earlier about, you know, in this region, it's kind of forgot about a little bit, but it shouldn't be. You know, there's a ton of players that have come out of this area.
Oh, great football in Ohio. And you see right there, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State. 4 already commits to Ohio State. And that's what you want to do. When you want to be that dominant college program, you need to put a fence around your state, and you got to control it. If there's anybody really good in your state, you need to land them. And Urban Meyer's doing it so far.
Just over 2 to go in the first half. Central Catholic down 14-3. And it's been a lot of this in the combination of Trayvon Wade and Michael Warren. And it's Wade that time. Coming up at the half, Chris Cotter's in the studio. College football headlines, obstacles for Ohio State to repeat, plus first half analysis, stats, and more. All coming up at the break. Stay tuned for that.
I'll tell you what one of their obstacles isn't. Quarterback.
Right, right.
They're loaded with them. And who knows if it's going to be J.T. Barrett or Cardell Jones. Of course, we know Braxton Miller already sliding over to a little H position, a little slot back.
Washington has passed nearly picked off by Stefan Kozakowski.
Boy, what a break on the ball by Kozakowski. This is what you do. You hear announcers say jumping the route. Boy, Kozakowski, 27. He's just reading the eyes of Simeon Washington. Watch him break on the ball. Should have intercepted it. I know if you ask him, he's going to say, boy, I should have caught that one. But that's how you break on the ball. You just want to catch it. That's all.
Intended for Dandino that time. Looking to see if Central Catholic, I mean, maybe not in this position at 3rd and 7, but tries to go a little bit deep with a couple of their speedsters, the Greer twins. And he tries to go to one of them, and that was Darian Greer. The pass again got knocked down. Warren Saba that time for Benedictine. And it's 4th down.
Hey, it's just smart playing his secondary by 17, Warren Saba. Again, reading the eyes of Simeon Washington. He lets the long receiver go. Dandino breaks off the route, comes back and breaks the play up as Darian Greer never has a chance to catch that ball.
It's got to be a little frustrating for Central Catholic, a team that was averaged 42 points a game last year, not used to being held in check, especially by this margin. They've only got 3 on the board.
And again, defending state champion now, as we talked about earlier, Benedictine is now in Division III, so these two teams are in the same division in the state of Ohio.
Saba making players miss. Warren Saba and takes it up across the 30-yard line. Another flag comes in late here. Joshua Anderson had the tackle. And Benedictine, we've seen it today already with the way they've scored their touchdowns. They've done on drives that have taken less than 45 seconds each. So minute 10, that's a world of time for them.
23 on the return
and
team.
the legal block in the back.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
On the return.
First down.
After a 50-yard punt.
Well, and Greg Dempsey knew that. They're an explosive team. You're going to see some big blocks coming up here. You see the block in the back right there. And I tell you what, right there, that was Zach Sandwich that you saw flying out of the frame by Moore Meeks. Take a look at here, left side of the screen. Good block there. You're going to see another one coming up right there. And, I mean, that's what you do. You got to peel back and block. Unfortunately, every once in a while, you're going to get a block in the back. But I tell you what, Coach Joe Schaefer, he's not mad at that because that's effort. When you get those blocks in the back, that's effort. Peeling back, trying to free your punt returner, and they almost did it right there.
It's being aggressive. Just have to refine it a little bit.
That's it. Got to just... If you see the numbers in the back, you got to stay off. Shoulder to the front numbers.
Benedictine has 1 timeout remaining here in this first half. We'll see if they decide to try to take a shot. Scheffler's pass. This one's incomplete off the hands of Michael Lacey. With a minute 5 to go, first frame.
Yeah, Michael Lacey, a little bit under the radar. He's only a sophomore, 5'10", 175. Coach Schaefer said he's one to watch in the future as he matures and gets older. Again, only a sophomore.
Scheffler hands off to Lacey this time. And he's met for just a yard. 3rd and long on the way, under a minute to go. If they're content with 14-3 advantage here.
What you want to do here is you give it to your skill players, see if they can get in space and break one. Otherwise, you don't want to make a mistake with the back to your goal line. But here's the chess match now. Greg Dempsey says, that's what you're going to do. I'm going to use timeouts, and I'm going to try to get the ball back down 14-3.
All right, what about some of your keys here as we got 51 seconds left in this first half?
We talked about special teams. We've seen it already. Big in the game. They try to squib kick. Benedictine picks it up. Special teams has played a role already. Turnover margin. Haven't had any turnovers. It's been a pretty clean game. And then wrap-up tackling. What I mean by that is the state of Ohio, like a lot of states, have now limited their high school programs into how much they could tackle. They could only tackle in one session for 2 days. Can only tackle 2 days a week in a regular season. Limits to 30 minutes. When that happens, a lot of times you get sloppy tackling. So what team tackles better today?
Well, here are some of the big plays we've seen today so far. Devon Johnson, he's been right in the thick of things for Benedictine.
Yeah, and you think they're going to target Justin Lane, and just like that, Devon Johnson, shows his vertical speed and is making catches all over the place.
I guess that's what happens sometimes. You have such a talented player in Lane, and they're not going to let him run free, so he may be drawing the defensive
inevitably,
attention.
That Central Catholic defense, yes, their attention is to Justin Lane. You put your best players over there, and then someone like Devon Johnson has one-on-one matchups, and he takes advantage of it.
And they'll keep it on the ground to DeCavalon Reese, and Coach Dempsey and Central Catholic got just what they wanted. They'll take their second timeout, and with 46 seconds to go, they'll get this ball back.
Yeah, and now you have a choice here. You can try to set up a return, or you can just go all out and say, we're going to go after this thing and try to block it, and again, make a big special team play before the end of the first half here.
All right, Geico High School football continues tonight on ESPN2 and ESPNU. We talked about that matchup in Georgia with Peachtree Ridge and Archer. How about the #1 team in the country, De La Salle? We know what they've done the history against Trinity.
Everyone remembers De La Salle, 151 straight wins from 1992 to 2004. And then, Trinity has the number 14th ranked defensive tackle in the nation, Chris Daniels. That's a great one to watch tonight as well.
And Bishop Gorman out of Las Vegas. That's coming up later as well. Here's your USA Today Super 25, the top 10. And, of course, there's De La Salle, but a lot of these teams, some of which we're featuring this weekend.
And we're up here in Ohio. You see Coleraine out of Cincinnati, number 9. Nate Niehaus, they got a big offensive tackle, 6'7", 260. He's verbal to West Virginia, along as Zach Sandwich is in this game. So just, loaded with talent is the top 10 here. Many of these teams, of course, in the 10 games that we've watched this weekend and are going to continue watching on ESPN.
And another great game tomorrow to close out the weekend at 2 o'clock right here on ESPNU out of Florida, Miramar and IMG Academy. A ton of talent in that game.
Yeah, well, I'm from Florida, Mike, so I'm a little biased, but there's no shortage of talent in Florida.
Fair catch called for by Dandino, and he has it at the 45-yard line. Now, what do you expect here from Central Catholic down 14-3, 40 seconds?
Yeah, you got to be aggressive. Obviously, you don't want to make a mistake now with a turnover, a pick six or something. That's obvious, but you use your timeouts to get the ball back. You got good field position. We know you got a good kicker. He's already kicked one from 40, so really your objective here is get into field goal range and see if you can just get some more points on the board. Listen, if you go into the locker room 14-6, if you can get 3, you're only down by a score. You feel pretty good about yourself.
Absolutely. Now here's Simeon Washington. First-year starter at quarterback, was the backup last year. Continued improvement in command of the offense, said Coach Dempsey. That's why he's out there. And it's the handoff, though, to Warren, and he's taken down for no gain. They've held More Meeks.
Yeah, I was going to say, More Meeks is playing. I talked about Sandwich going sideline to sideline. More Meeks, the 6'2", 205-pound senior, he can do the same thing. Very athletic, and he is physical. He gets to the ball carrier all over the field.
Offers from Max Schools and Syracuse. Warren Saba on the defensive end as well, with Mac Interest in Cincinnati. You got Justin Lane playing defense, committed to Michigan State. A lot of talented defensive players here, and Washington makes something happen. Buys some time and dumps it to Warren. He has it. Warren with a move inside the 30, and Michael Warren picks up major yardage down to the 23-yard line, but that's going to do it as the clock expires. Wasn't able to get a timeout in, and that's going to do it here at the end of the first half. So a little bit too little too late that time.
Yeah, good half by Benedictine. A little too tough so far in this first half. We'll see what kind of adjustments Greg Dempsey can make at halftime with Central Catholic.
Here in Toledo, Ohio today, part of Geico ESPN High School Football Kickoff. Greg Dempsey and Joe Schaefer for Central Catholic and Benedictine, respectively. Chris Cotter in the studio on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. Brian Scheffler. But it'll be defense on the field first for Benedictine, as Central Catholic will receive the kickoff to start the second half.
Yeah, and it's important for Central Catholic get the ball here and make something positive out of it. Get that big play we talked about and put points on the board. Just try to get the momentum back in this ball game.
It'll be Brandon Kelly that'll kick off. And the second half is underway in Toledo. We've seen a few of these as well, some short kicks. And it's Dandino on the return, and he'll get up to the 32-yard line. And Dantes Rash brings him down, and that's where Central Catholic will start off here on offense. Schaefer, who is getting stretched out on the sideline, cramping up a little bit.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Early in the season, I talked about the humidity before this game. You need to drink fluids, and the problem is with these young kids, I tell my daughters this that play soccer all the time, you can't hydrate the day of the event. You have to hydrate before 24, 48 hours before. And a lot of times these kids, you see them drinking the water now, it's too late. You got to get it in your body beforehand.
Got to get that water app on your phone. I've got it. It works pretty well. First down at 10 as Washington's pass goes to the outside, and we didn't see too much passing in that first half by Central Catholic, and the catch by Dandino got shaken up, his helmet off and knocked off. There was a lot of Michael Warren on the ground. Did they try to get it in the air a little bit more here in the second half?
What they did there, that was a quick pass to Dandino. Good blocking on the perimeter by his teammate Dion Greer, but he got up the field quick after he caught the ball. He didn't dance around. He picked up positive yards. That's a good positive pickup of 8 yards on first down for Central Catholic.
Full wide receiver set. And a short game for Central Catholic. A team last year that was able to put up a lot of numbers. 42 points a game, scored 639 points. State champions in Ohio. So was Benedictine. They won the Division IV state title. Central Catholic, the Division III state title. And they're now both in Division III, thanks to a little bit of an enrollment increase. Benedictine, they're competing in the same division this year.
So regardless of the outcome of this game, these two teams could very well meet again in the Division III playoffs, but they would most likely meet for the championship game.
First down run, 1st and 10 for Central Catholic. And again, Warren head down and up to the midfield line. Rattles off 7. Jason Tycho on the tackle.
And that's good blocking up front. I think that offensive line, James Hudson, Tracy Brown, Javian Martin, Joel Jones, and Joey Hardison really took it to heart in the first half because they're firing off the ball now. I really think they kind of got beat at the point of attack in that first half by that defensive front of Benedictine. So far, though, I like the way that offensive line from Central Catholic is getting after it.
Warren is going to get 1. It'll be 3rd and 1 for Central Catholic. You've seen the no huddle by both teams throughout this game. Has that worked to their advantage, disadvantage? Who's got the key?
They're not going with any tempo or pace. It's not Oregon-like or Auburn-like. They're just methodically getting the signals in from the sideline, and then they're going.
Warren again has the first down run to the 43-yard line and a fresh set of downs for Central Catholic. I mean, that's the difference in college football these days, and we've seen the transition over the last 10 years in terms of moving and going quickly, and that puts a lot of pressure on defense.
Most of the spreads now, they want to go. They want to go as quick as they can and put pressure on the defenses. High school, they're not necessarily going as fast as they can, but they're just not huddling.
Warren met initially, then stepped out of bounds at the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd and long. That puts the pressure on the defenses, and especially at this level where you're trying to teach fundamentals defensively, but then when you go up against a team that you know is going to be running no huddle, Rini, it's very tough because you don't have a lot of chance to coach and teach as much.
But the good thing, Mike, for these two teams, they both run no huddle. So, practicing it, getting ready for this ball game, it's not a problem for either one of these defense.
2nd down and 7 pass play, and Washington's pass caught by Darian Greer, but Stefan Kozakowski is there for the tackle. 3rd and 10 now for Central Catholic.
Kozakowski came up there with bad intentions. He missed a pick 6 earlier in the game. This time sniffs out the wide receiver screen, comes up, lowers the shoulder, lowers the boom. Good job, and holds on. Nice tackle. Good job by Kozakowski there.
3rd down and 10. Dandino, the wideout, has been targeted for the most part, the most today. At the top of the screen for Central Catholic. A flag flies. Washington going for Greer, and he has him. Darian Greer eludes the defender, is in for the touchdown. And we will await the flag as Darian Greer, the senior speedster, the catch from Washington, doesn't stand.
Yeah, and you're going to see the officials talking right now. And I think this may be waved off, Mike. We're going to take a look right here.
Not enough men on the line of scrimmage on the offense.
It is an illegal formation on the offense.
And that's the killer, because that's the big play we were talking about that really would spark them. A little corner route, good pass by Simeon Washington, good catch by the receiver Greer for the touchdown. However, illegal formation, and it's all for naught. And you're going to see it right here. They have 5 guys in the backfield, and that's why you see the flag go up there. Right. Number 11, Arthur Greenlee, needed to be on the line of scrimmage. He was back. It gave him 5 players in the backfield. Unfortunately, it's a good call by the official, and it wipes out the touchdown.
Well, that's the thing. You can't have more than 4 in the backfield.
And Greg Dempsey knew it was the right call. He's not complaining. He knew that his receiver needed to be up. It's unfortunate. It happens sometimes.
Now to 3rd and 15, and this play with no chance. Washington, they're going to say he was down, and they'll blow it dead. And Washington shaken up. Michael Washington, number 40 for Central Catholic, Warren, Michael Warren. As you see Benedictine, the fans excited about their defense. This is a verbal commit to Kentucky. Let's hope he's okay.
And that was Davell Moore Meeks once again. He's been all over the field. Watch him, middle of the screen, 18. Reads the screen pass and just comes and drives Michael Warren into the turf. And I mean, as a middle linebacker, you can't read that any better. I like to say read and react, and that's what Moore Meeks did right there on that screen pass.
So Warren is injured right now. They'll attend to him, and we'll step aside. 4th and 15 for Central Catholic. Back to Toledo in a moment. Michael Warren to the sideline as he was injured on the last play. Shaken up.
Yeah, good sign, though. You know, talking to the trainers, looks like it's going to be okay. Just a big hit.
Oh, he is out for 4th down for Central Catholic. 4th down and 16. Zach Hoover. And Saban just lets it go over his head into the end zone. We'll be back in a moment. Benedictine 14, Central Catholic 3. Earlier today, the coin toss, the man who flipped it, Dane Sanzenbacher, one of the all-time greats here at Central Catholic. We'll talk to him when we come back after this. Middle of the third quarter in Toledo, Ohio, with Geico ESPN High School Football Kickoff. 14-3, Benedictine over Central Catholic, and we have one of their all-time greats here from Central, Dane Sanzenbacher, played with the Chicago Bears, Cincinnati Bengals. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Hey, congratulations on what you've done, and you guys won a state title when you were here back in 05, correct?
Yeah, 2005. The place looked a little bit different then,
yes.
But facilities have upgraded, but keeping the winning tradition.
Now, Dane, you had a great career at Ohio State. I think you had 121 catches, 19 touchdowns for a career. First team All Big Ten in 2010, team MVP. Talk about your experience in Ohio State and talk about them winning the inaugural college football playoff championship last year. What was that like?
Yeah, that was something. I mean, obviously my experience there was awesome. Something I would have never seen coming. Something that was, I'll always have that and those memories. And to see them win the first college playoff, I don't think a lot of people gave them a shot, and now they come into the next season, preseason number 1.
Flag down on the field as Benedictine is back on offense, leading 14-3. We'll get the call here in a moment, talking with Dane Sanzenbacher, former Central Catholic star here, and of course Ohio State wide receiver.
False start.
And a false start on Benedictine. Yeah, things have changed so much. I mean, obviously we were just talking about the high school game in general, and then how people are getting recruited even earlier and all that. What have you seen, and have you been able to come back, I'm sure, and talk to these players and give them a little bit of insight on the process?
It has changed a little bit, and I think the difference between when I was here and now is that these players now have to deal with the expectation of winning and the expectation of going to that next level. Years ago it was such a privilege to go D1 and play those games. Now these guys see so many people in front of them doing it, almost becomes something that they feel like is going to happen automatically. So I think that's something that Coach Dempsey's dealt with well, but it's come up.
Now, did you guys play any national televised games back in 05, for instance, when you guys won the state championship?
No, we didn't. We obviously didn't have this field here, but we just played our normal league games and, had our Maslin State Championship. Oh, boy.
The Cavalon Reese breaks free right up the middle of the field, and nobody is going to track him down. The Cavalon Reese for the touchdown. Benedictine, 84 yards.
And again, just good blocking up front by that Benedictine offensive line. The Cavalon Reese, one of their explosive athletes, 5'11", 195-pound junior, gets the handoff and just puts it in another gear as he splits the defense of Central Catholic.
Well, they came into this second half, Reedy, with 146 yards. 124 of them came on 3 plays. We talked about the big plays today being a huge reason for Benedictine on top the way they are now, 21-3. Another huge play, 84 yards, and the junior to Cavalon Reese. He scored the most points for this team last year. He's a go-getter.
And Greg Dempsey knew this. He told me more than one time that they had to limit the big plays of Benedictine. You can't give them these big home runs, and they've had a few of them today. And just, you don't even see a Central Catholic player in the screen until the end there. Number 2, Dunlap Trust, and it's just, you can't give up those big plays.
Reese over 100 yards with the touchdown that we just saw, 21-3. Mike Corey, Rainey Angolia here with Dane Sanzenbacher, former Central Catholic player, and of course Ohio State wide receiver. Played a couple years with the Bengals, with the Bears. What about your NFL status right now? I know you're a free agent.
Yeah, I'm technically a free agent. Contract was up in Cincinnati, so I decided to come home for a little bit and see what's going on. I kind of decided that I wanted to pursue something other than football. So I'm kind of just taking my time, seeing what that might be.
And you got your degree at Ohio State?
Got my degree in marketing from Ohio State, yeah.
Great.
So that's always great to have.
Let me ask you this. What do you think now with the new cost of attendance? Players are going to be getting a stipend, let's say. What's your opinion on that?
I actually didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's new this year now. So players will be getting paid, and not paid to play, but it's just a little stipend on top of, obviously, their room and board. Yeah, so what's your thought of that?
In that argument, I've always been on the side of, deal with which many players before us have gone through the same thing and been able to make do on the scholarship check that you get.
Sure.
And, you're not going to live like a king, obviously, and I know there's a lot more pressure on you and there's all these things, I get it. But, college just to me doesn't seem like a time where you're supposed to be living gloriously. You get through it, you get your degree, you get your education, so I think it complicates things, but obviously probably brighter minds than me have sat in rooms and figured this out.
It's over our pay grade.
Yeah.
Like conduct.
Well, you can see Warren banged up. A lot of things have happened here in this last play. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Benedictine. Warren kind of gingerly came off the field. He was injured a little bit earlier, but it was back out there for the return. They got a great block by Richard Jackson Jr., 37 there, as you see that right there.
Yeah, and he caught him on the shoulder. That's a good block. And you love the effort from Central Catholic. And you knew a Greg Dempsey coach team is not going to give up, even though they're down 21-3. And you see, I think it's going to be number 12 from Benedictine that's going to get that personal foul.
Right.
With a taunting penalty, I should say.
A good field position here now for Central Catholic, and back to the ground. And Coach Greg Dempsey, what was he like when you were here?
Look at that scowl. He was great. He was a relatively young coach when I was here. He only had a few years in. Obviously, he was starting to get the ball rolling on his success, and then 2005 came along, and everything has snowballed since there. He's done a great job leading this program, turning it around.
Now, I understand that 2005 team, the entire team, is going to be inducted into the school's Hall of Fame. How do you feel about that?
It's pretty exciting. I'm excited more so to see all the guys again. It's 10 years out, so we can finally go in, and most of those guys, the majority, I haven't seen since that 06-05 year.
And from one player to another, that's what you're going to miss the most when you stop playing, is that camaraderie, the locker room. That's the one thing you always miss.
Fumble here is Wade. Fumbled at Trayvon Wade for Central Catholic, and Benedictine has it back. Picked up by Connor Bogard. And our first turnover of the game, and Benedictine makes some pay.
Yeah, Bogard, the big 280-pound defensive tackle. Boy, scoops that thing up, turns into a running back. Good athleticism, and just like that, Central Catholic had some momentum driving the ball, but that Benedictine defense just steps up. We're looking at replay here, and unfortunately there is not replay in high school, so it's not going to be reviewed. So even if you're at home and you think maybe that knee was down, it was ruled a fumble and a strip on the field, and it will stand. If it was a college game, we might take a closer look at that.
Right, I was going to say.
But not today.
Oh, geez, Dave, sorry about all this here. You come up here, they got a big pass play with a touchdown.
That was a big guy with the ball, so feel free to interrupt.
No. From the 40-yard line, first down at 10 now, back to Reese. He had the 84-yard run for the touchdown, and not this time. Simeon Washington, the quarterback, and on defense, the linebacker says no way. Does the ball get stripped here, Rini and Dane, before that right knee is down?
To me, his right knee's clearly on the ground.
Or is it on the player's leg? Is it not on the turf?
And that's the thing. So what do we talk about in college? Indisputable video evidence. So we got a couple people here looking at it, and there's nothing that's concrete there. So even if it was a college game, I think the call on the field would stand.
6 minutes to play in the third. Second down and 15 now. And again, Reese for a couple after the 5-yard loss on first down, 3rd and long on the way.
Now, Dane, you were a Jim Tressel guy.
Correct.
Still have a relationship with Coach Tressel. Coach is now the president of Youngstown State.
You know, not as much as I would like. I should reach out to him now that that's out there. Yeah, I mean, obviously his career didn't go or end the way we would like, but I haven't had many mentors that can match him as a coach. I mean, the guy was incredibly consistent with us. I mean, he was a leader.
And I know I'm dating myself, but I actually played against Jim Tressel when he was the head coach at Youngstown State when I was at UMass.
Right.
So that was a while ago.
Scheffler, and he's going to be sacked. The play there by Central Catholic's James Hudson. There's a verbal commit to Kentucky, the senior at 6'5", 280, and a nice play there.
And we talked to Hudson yesterday, and I asked him, because he plays offensive tackle, I said, you know, if you had your druthers, what would you want to play in college? And, of course, he said defensive end.
Right.
So you'd rather give the hitting than be hit.
It's got to be great, though, Dane, to come back and see, you know, what has developed here at your alma mater on the high school level. It certainly doesn't feel sometimes like high school anymore, the way on the stands and, you know, Charles Gallagher and everything he's done here for this place and the stadium. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the place is obviously beautiful, and like I've said, it's changed quite a bit since we were here, and it's great to be able to come out here and see your school, and so it doesn't feel like high school at all, honestly. And ESPN's here. Look at you guys.
That's right.
But yeah, it's awesome to see this success happening.
Great talking to you, Dane. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the game, and wish you all the best in your success and what you do in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, Dane Sanzenbacher joining us here, former Ohio State and Central Catholic wide receiver. We're back with more here in Toledo, Ohio after this. We are here for high school kickoff this weekend in Toledo, Ohio. 21-3, Benedictine over Central Catholic. More high school football on the way. We talked about that great game in Georgia. Number 1, De La Salle. How about Chandler and Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas tonight on ESPN?
Yeah, and Chandler has a number 4 rated wide receiver, Nikhil Harry, also an Under Armour All-American. So that's a great showdown. Number 20, Chandler versus number 4, Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas.
It's all part of the Summer of Next presented by Geico. As Benedictine punts this one away here on 4th down. Ball's going to bounce to the 46, and that's where Central Catholic will take over. These two teams are both defending state champions from last year. Benedictine, a team that has had back-to-back state titles twice in their history, 80-81, and in 2003-2004 as well.
Yeah, and they were Division IV state champions. Their enrollment went up just a tick. That's why they're now in Division III. But you see the team photos, you see the coaches in the background. Just a great program is Benedictine there in Cleveland, Ohio.
They're the first and only school to win a state title in each of the 5 decades since the playoffs began back in 1972.
And we should say Joe Laffey, the offensive coordinator, was a quarterback there for 3 years, won 2 state championships himself.
Here's Dion Greer, brought down by Jalen James, a first down catch. And these are 2 of the fastest players on the field with the Greer brothers, Darian and Dion. Here's a look at the years that Benedictine did win the state championships, and they've got a chance to go back-to-back for the 3rd time in their history this year.
Again, you talked about it earlier. A lot of alumni have come back and are on that coaching staff. The aforementioned Joe Laffey, the offensive coordinator, of course, Joe Schaefer, the head coach. So just, that's a really good, family atmosphere when you come back to your alma mater. There's a sense of pride when you come back and coach a school where you played at.
Washington takes it down, and he'll run for the first down. Simeon Washington for Central Catholic to the 24-yard line.
Yeah, and Simeon Washington, he's a big physical kid. We talked about him at outside linebacker. I think he's a better runner of the ball than a thrower, Mike. And here, looks almost like a quarterback draw. I think he just improvised there. He was going to throw it, but he becomes a runner. He's a physical person with the ball.
Quick pass out to Greer. It's Darian Greer making a man miss. Hits on the sideline. Touchdown, Central Catholic.
And I tell you what I love right there is Simeon Washington, the zip he puts on the ball, gets it to his receiver Greer, and then look at the block by 13, Dan Dino. to spring Greer to get him in for the touchdown. That's a very nice executed offensive play.
All around it was Washington for Darian Greer. You talked about the block from Dan Dino, and now Zach Hoover trying to make it 21-10. And they didn't get the hold down too well there. Dandino actually the holder and kind of muffed it for a second, so the kick no good. And it'll stay 21-9. And let's go back to the touchdown.
Len, you like the answer. Watch the quick release from Simeon Washington. Right there, snaps it. Good ball to number 7, Darian Greer. Look, there's the block by Dandino. He might have took more than given there, but it still works the same. He frees up his receiver to get in there for the touchdown.
Yeah, had to jump out of the way.
Sometimes you receive a little more than give, but you get the chop done none the same.
Yeah, they had the low snap on the kick, and Dandino wasn't able to get it down.
He might have had a few cobwebs from the block he just threw. He doesn't get it down. It dribbles back to him, and you see what happens. They use a kicking tee in high school, and if you don't get it on there just right, it really throws a kicker off, and it gets hooked there, and it's no good.
Well, I'll tell you, this is good for Central Catholic. They had 2 drives this half. Prior to this one, Marini, their first one, they had a 43-yard touchdown that was negated due to a penalty, and then they had a fumble inside the red zone that Benedictine took back. And so this one, really an excellent play on the offensive end to get some points, gain a little confidence here late in the third.
And the one thing you knew with that man's team right there, Greg Dempsey, this team's not going to quit. I mean, this is a good family atmosphere type of ball club where they got each other's backs, and you knew they were going to play this one out to the bitter end. And listen, 21-9, they're still in this thing.
And we talked to them yesterday, and a lot of members from the staff, as we have a flag down on the far side of the field that, let's get the call here first. Sideline warning, says Steve Miller, is that, this school, what it's done is to help educate some of the disadvantaged families, and, from what they wanted to do back in the day, they're continuing to do that. The school is doing what it's supposed to do, they said, and for over 90 years, that's what's happened here at Central Catholic. And a short kick picked up at the 32-yard line by Benedictine. And it's Jalen James. But they've been able to do that, and the amount of athletes, and not only just athletes, but alumni from this school, and the impact that they've had. They're in every state, 26 countries. It's not just athletics. It's been pretty good.
I was really impressed with everyone we met here at Central Catholic. Again, great facilities across the donors. We see Gallagher Stadium. We met Mr. Gallagher. Donated a lot of money to build these unbelievable facilities. They got a beautiful basketball arena as well. And it's just, again, that family atmosphere, giving back to a school where you graduated from.
Brian Scheffler gets a block and cuts it back to the right side, and pass is incomplete for Spencer Johnson. We got another flag on the field.
That's a legal man downfield, Mike, and you see that a lot of times when quarterbacks scramble. The running back, the linemen just kind of float downfield 2, 3, 4 yards, and that's where the call comes in.
We were watching some film on that actually in the preseason here, if you will, with our group of people from ESPN and we were talking about the discussion,
number 66,
whether or not
offense,
3 yards, should be 1 yard, and whether or not you definitely recognize it, if it was only 1 yard, but sometimes 3 yards, and if the call's made or not called,
and it puts it in that gray area for the official, and he's sitting back there, the umpire, and he's like, okay, is he at 3? Is he at 4? Do I throw a flag? Do I not? And it's a tough call. And that one, it's a little easier when the quarterback's scrambling.
Certainly, yes.
You can really tell when the linemen drift downfield.
So Benedictine backed up here. Still 3:09 to go in this third quarter. 21-9. Benedictine, in terms of their offense, the top players that we featured at the beginning with Justin Lane with a verbal to Michigan State, the wide receiver, and Dantes Rash, the running back, has Ohio, Ball State, Bowling Green, and in his repertoire there, choices of schools. They're doing more on the defensive side. Rash has more tackles and carries, and Lane has more tackles and even targets today.
Yeah, and really, Benedictine really hasn't established any long drive. Everything they've done today has been big plays. And, if Central Catholic, if they could just eliminate giving up those big home runs, this ball game would be a lot closer.
We don't see Lane on the field right now. He's number 13 in white for Benedictine. That carry went to DeCavalon Reese, number 5. You talk about big carries or big plays. He had an 84-yard touchdown run. There's Lane 6'3", 190, number 254 in the ESPN 300. 10th rated player, 10th best player in the state of Ohio, rated by ESPN.
And we saw the trainers before the start of the second half kind of checking out Lane's wrist, so we don't know what the issue is. You see him there. It almost looks like it cramped up. We talked about Scheffler cramping up the way he's holding it. So you see him there with the trainers. It doesn't look like anything too serious, but nonetheless, he's not in the ballgame.
Benedictine is just 1 for 7 on third down in this game. Their only conversion came when it was 3rd and 1. This is 3rd and 9. Scheffler goes deep. And it's broken up and incomplete. Nice play there. Marcus Easterly defending, looking for Devon Johnson, who's made a bunch of great catches today. Another flag is down, 3 of them actually laid right back at the line. Really good coverage by Easterly there, though. Look how he turns. He's stride for stride with Devon Johnson, and he breaks up the pass. That's how you want man-to-man coverage there. Another illegal man downfield, but they'll decline this penalty and make it 4th down and 9. Yeah, again, those offensive linemen, they cannot drift downfield. That's going to be a point of emphasis. Obviously, the officials are looking for that this year. And Benedictine will just punt this thing away with 1:58 left in this third quarter. Second matchup of all time between these two schools. They haven't played since 1962. Yeah, it's been a while. Well, we had everybody coming in here and talking to us about, for each school, which we appreciate. It's great. I mean, there's just so many interesting stories. I mean, they had said, members from the Benedictine faithful, that they lost to Central Catholic back then in '62, and then they changed the helmets. They've got the flying bee that's on the side of the helmet right now. They've had that ever since. That was actually right after that game, and that was the year that Central Catholic actually went on to win the state title of the media vote in 1962. Yeah, it's a great matchup. I love the fact, again, Northwest Ohio versus Northeast Ohio. It's a good matchup, and hopefully we see more of that each season. Well, we talked a little bit about some of the alumni from this school in Central Catholic. How about Gene Krantz, the flight director for Apollo 13? And there's the room that they have here at Central Catholic. That's a piece from the moon. A little piece of the moon. I don't think any other high school probably has a little piece of the moon in their school. It's pretty good, the moon room. That's right, the moon room. That was great. I thought we were going to break something in there yesterday. I was nervous. Warren wants to break tackles, and he gets to the sideline and stiff-arming the defender out of bounds for a first down run to the 46-yard line. William Whitfield took the brunt of it. And we talked about some of the alumni. There's Gene Krantz. Jim Joyce, Major League Baseball umpire, right? Sonsenbacher, who we talked to today. So, very good alumni here. And again, this school prides itself on great alumni, and they all give back to the school, which makes it really good for the kids that are attending here now. Coming up on a minute and a half to go in the third. Warren again. He's just a junior with a verbal commit to Kentucky, so a lot could change potentially. Good to see him back in. He was a little shaken up. The run before that, I told you, he runs angry. And you saw that stiff arm he threw. When he gets behind his pads, he can punish some tacklers. Keeper by Washington, a yard shy of the first down. And that's what they're doing now. They're going a little more offensive coordinator Chad Hunterbrinker, doing a little more zone read, getting Simeon Washington involved a little bit in running the ball. Well, they bring in the tight end, Jalen Doust, who's at 6'4", 230. The right side of the offensive line. And they go to the left with Washington. Cuts it back, has the first. And to the 40-yard line, a fresh set of downs for Central Catholic. And there's still a whole quarter to go here, Reedy. They are just 2 scores away. They're right in this Central Catholic said, Hunterbrinker said, Coach Dempsey said they were going to use multiple formations and a lot of unbalance. That time they went unbalanced to the wide side of the field. Just try to get one more blocker over there than Benedictine has as a tackler, and that's what they did. They got Simeon Washington on the perimeter, moved the change, picked up another first down. Again, Warren powers his way. First down run, Michael Warren. Just playing with sheer emotion and energy today. Rash and Whitfield knock him out first down.
And Warren's the type of back, there's no doubt watching him. The more he runs the ball, the better he gets. Look at the good vision there. Pops it outside. I wish he would have that ball in the left hand. You always want to have it on that hand to the outside where the boundary is, but nonetheless, high and tight. He had it in there, and he's running angry.
Yes, he is. Inside the 10, Warren, touchdown. Michael Warren heads up. And Central Catholic is right back in it. 28 yards with 16 seconds here to go in the third.
And you asked me earlier, Mike, what Central Catholic needed to do to attack Benedictine, and I thought right between the tackles. Get with Warren, get a good push by that offensive line, which they're doing now, and attack him right up the gut, and that's what they did on that drive, and it paid off.
He just echoed my sentiments right there in terms of, yes, get the crowd into it. That was the thing. This crowd kind of, with all the emotion and energy from earlier this morning, being outside and tailgating for hours and hours and getting ready for this game here today, as Hoover's kick is good, and we've got a 5-point ball game. The energy was taken out immediately on the first drive. It was just 2 plays, and Benedictine got a touchdown. Well, now finally Central Catholic is returning the favor here late in the third.
And you look at Warren's numbers. Listen, he's a good downhill runner between the tackles. He's got good speed, good explosion. But look how thick he is in the lower body. Good little slide step to the left as he finds the hole. And look at the speed as he runs away from the secondary of Benedictine. And boy, that's the spark that Central Catholic needed. And boy, this crowd is back into it, and more importantly, that sideline is back into it. Kudos to that offensive line of Central Catholic as well, starting to get off the ball, giving some room to their big horse, Michael Warren. You know, they call him Thunder around here. When Trayvon Wade, #1, runs the ball, he's lightning, but right now we're seeing nothing but thunder.
We got to come up with another running back tandem combination. You know, it's so funny. We were talking about that back in the day when you were playing as well, and you know, because you're the big bruising back, you got the speedy guy. I mean, there's got to be something. We got to come up with.
We'll have to think of something. Maybe we can market something.
Yeah. Adjectives for thunder and lightning. Let's come up with it. 16 seconds to go in the third. 21-16. Benedictine awaiting the kick from Zach Hoover, who had a 40-yard field goal earlier today, and that'll get them on the board. And on the return, Sean Lozada. And here we go.
Well, and you see the energy level there. When you watch the Central Catholic special teams run down to cover that kick, they're pep in their step. They're getting after Benedictine now. The table has turned. I mean, 13 unanswered points for Central Catholic, and this is a new ball game, Mike.
Well, let's see if we see Justin Lane in the ball game as well, too, the top wide receiver that we have in this ball game today. Number 13, does he step onto the field in this series? He does not. And it's a 4 wide receiver set with DeCamelon Reese in the backfield. Crowd is on their feet. Scheffler overthrows Lozada.
And this is the loudest I've heard this crowd all game. They are standing up. Everyone is on their feet, and the energy has totally turned around in this stadium in favor of Central Catholic.
Well, Scheffler shake it up a little bit as well. The top wide receiver today has really been number 9, Devon Johnson, for this team. He's had some big catches, including a touchdown. He's at the top of the screen on the outside. Lacey goes in motion. It's Reese. DeCamelon Reese. First down. Finally, Zach Sandwich rips him down, but not till he gets to the 45 and a first down. Well, it was 21-3. Benedictine, but Central Catholic has come back with 13 unanswered points. They show 0.6 seconds still on the clock, so they are going to have another play here before the end of the third. Or do they say no? That's it. So that's the end of the third. Central Catholic coming back here. 2 teams, both state title winners a year ago. Some special plays, some big-time plays. career with a touchdown catch. And Central Catholic's back in it. We'll be back.
Back to the middle to midfield, and Des Bryant's on the loose. Good night, Vienna! Pistol firing! Touchdown, Oklahoma State!
You're watching the opening as part of the ESPNU Summer of Next, presented by Geico.
Little Des Bryant right there.
How about it?
Yeah, it's amazing how many standout players started in these high school games and had stellar college careers, and now we see them in the NFL as well.
Absolutely. 6th year that we've done this year, the ESPN Geico High School Football Kickoff. And we have 5 more games still to come on the way here this weekend on the ESPN family of networks as we get set to start the 4th quarter here in Toledo with Benedictine and their lead down to 5. Scheffler airmails Devon Johnson. And how about Benedictine in the second half? And Camelot Reese is an 84-yard touchdown run.
They've been feeding the junior, 5'11", 195 pounds. Good speed when he gets to the perimeter. Good cutback, good vision there. And he took that one right up the gut for a home run. Just, big hitter. When you're an athlete like that with speed like the Camelot Reese, you can hit home runs, and that's what Benedictine's been doing. But I tell you what, give Central Catholic credit because they are back in this ball game.
And now it's Dantes Rash with the carry for a first down of 11 yards. Zach Sandwich on the tackle. And here's a look at some of the numbers for the Camelot Reese and Michael Warren, the 2 running backs today, respectively.
Well, you see Reese 12 for 147, but Michael Warren, that's Omen's work there. 25 carries, 136 yards, and a touchdown. A lot of yards, 2 different ways, but 2 very good running backs going at it today.
Scheffler getting it to Spencer Johnson and stays on his feet and able to eke out some extra yards after the catch. Good for 14 and a first down.
Yeah, and I think Scheffler needed that. He's been a little high. He's been a little erratic in his second half. Good pass and catch there to Spencer Johnson to move the chains for Benedictine.
There's Michael Warren getting a little break on the sideline. He plays both ways, but is out right now. Defense getting settled for Central Catholic. You can see maybe a little bit more sense of urgency now for Benedictine. Greedy, they had a comfortable advantage, and it's been cut to a 1-possession game as Rash runs, and it's close to another first.
Unbelievable footwork in the hole by Dantes Rash there. Quick feet. It's a special athlete. You're going to see a good block on the middle linebacker, Zach Sandwich, and then just great footwork by Dantes Rash. Watch this, good block by 74, Donovan Corlew, and good footwork and quickness by Dantes Rash.
And again, Rash, who is ranked by ESPN recruiting in the running back department, number 102 in the country, number 59 in the state of Ohio. And he's getting some action here on this drive.
Well, Frank Solich would love to keep him in the MAC at Ohio University, but I got a feeling Dantes Rash going to have a few more offers before this year ends.
Well, he's been a 3-year starter for this team. The leading rusher had the 4th highest single-season mark last year for Benedictine in their history. Had 1,827 yards rushing with 17 touchdowns.
And what a luxury for offensive coordinator Joe Laffey, head coach Joe Schaefer, when you can go with a Dantes Rash and then all of a sudden come back with a DeCavelon Reese as well. Just it's a great 1-2 punch.
4 receiver set. Scheffler floats it up in the air for the end zone, and it is incomplete. And it was Johnson, Devon Johnson, and Keyshawn Phillips able to knock it out there. And he's saying, perfect. Did I have it for enough time?
Perfect look of the rule. We talked about Des Bryant earlier. You're going to see Devon Johnson go up and actually catch the ball. But you have to control and possess the catch all the way to the ground. Right there he has it. Comes down, hits the ground. In the old days, that might have been a touchdown. But you now have to possess it and control it through the catch to the ground. Therefore, incomplete pass. Good call by the officials.
That's why you can see him kind of looking back saying, I had it there. Did I have it for enough time? And he did not. So 3rd and 7 now for Benedictine. Play clock. They got it off. Here comes a blitz over the middle, and this one is caught, and it's a touchdown by Johnson. They go right back to him.
Hey, he made sure he held on to that one. Little crossing route. But watch this fastball by Brian Scheffler. This is how you zing the thing. This is how you spin it. Watch him step up in the pocket, and he throws an absolute fastball to 9, Devon Johnson, who's going to run a cross route. Just watch this right here. Steps up in the pocket, spins that thing right there. Good pass, good catch. Takes a big hit as well, but he holds on for the score.
That's the second touchdown catch of the game for Devon Johnson. He had a 33-yard catch earlier that made it 14-3. This one now, as we await the extra point, could put them up by 12. And it does. So with 10:17 to play, Benedictine responds. Coach Joe Schaefer says that's what we needed right there. It was getting a little bit too close for comfort.
And that's the mark of a good team. You know, their star player, Justin Lane, number 254 in the ESPN 300, isn't playing. Step up Devon Johnson, number 9. Watch him make the catch with the hands, takes the big hit, still holds on. Benedictine's going to come back and take control of this game once again, 28-16 as we go to break.
Put that on
the running backs.
Yeah. 28-16 now. Benedictine by 12. Scheffler, the quarterback, with just 5 completions on the day, but 2 of them have gone for touchdowns for Devon Johnson.
Yeah, you know, last year Johnson only had 10 catches for 163 yards, and he's going to have that in today's game. Just really picking apart the Central Catholic secondary. That was the first play of the game as he goes vertical. Here he's going to go vertical down the right side. A beautiful pass by Brian Scheffler there. And here, little crossing route. Scheffler throws a fastball in there. Devon Johnson holds on after taking the big hit, and just look at that game. 3 receptions, 88 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good work for someone that only had 160 yards receiving all of last year.
Right. Well, there's an injury to Justin Lane, who's the top wide receiver in this game today for Benedictine, and he hasn't played in a little while. Devon Johnson has really made his time valuable. And now down the sideline here for Central Catholic, Trevon Wade, and he gets across midfield. Finally, it was Brandon Kelly, the kicker, that pushed him out. Goes for 44 yards on the return.
And this is, you're going to see the kicker. This is kind of like the excuse me, bump into you at the sideline. But good job by Trevon Wade. Picks it up, exceptional speed down the side. You're going to see the kicker here. He didn't want anything to do with Trevon Wade, but he got enough of him to get him out of bounds.
Warren is on the sideline. He also got banged up a little bit today, too. Michael Warren, who's been the workhorse, and they go out to Dandino. Rash pushes him out of bounds. How about Joe Dandino, senior at 5'6", 150. I mean, they're a wide receiver group, but they've got a lot of talent, a lot of speed. You talk about Dandino and Darian Greer and Dion Greer. They're just size-wise, it's not going to be.
Yeah, they're like the old fun bunch from the Washington Redskins. Yeah. They all run good routes. They got good quickness. Dandino, they're all tough kids. They'll throw their bodies in there. They're not afraid to block, and I love that out of wide receivers because that's what springs those long runs by the running backs when that receiving core is getting down in there, getting down and dirty, blocking as well as catching the football.
There was Darian Greer right there, and Dion Greer. Third down, 3rd and 4. And the pass is caught, and it's Dion Greer. He has the first down inside the 30. And this is what Central Catholic needs, a little bit of momentum, 13-yard gain, chain moves.
Tremendous route by Dion Greer. Just a little sit route, but he finds where the first down marker is, so he knows even if he catches and gets tackled right there, he's still going to have the first down. But he's able to pick up additional yards. Good throw by Simeon Washington as well. Get it to him quick.
And it's a keeper from Washington. And is inside the 20 with that run. Close to another first down. The Geico ESPN High School Football Kickoff continues tomorrow right here on ESPN at 2 Eastern. ING, tons of talent in that game. Looking forward to watching that.
Well, in Miramar, too, let's give them some love. They have the number 62 running back in the nation by ESPN recruiting, Gregory McCray. So some talent on the side of the ball for Miramar as well.
Trevon Wade. And not enough for the first down, so it'll be 3rd and 1 for Central Catholic. Michael Warren is back in the game now. You hear Joe Schaefer there on the sideline for Benedictine, urging his defense on.
And you see an unbalanced look once again to the right side for Central Catholic.
And the give is to Warren, and Warren stretching and will have the first down. DeAndre Penny pushes him back. We saw a big tackle by Penny earlier in the ball game, who's has interest in Fordham. William and Mary's a basketball player as well, number 6 in white for Benedictine. But first down for Central Catholic. What do they do here inside the red zone now?
Well, I think they're in good shape. I think their tempo's good, but just keep pounding it between those tackles. And when you do pass it, find those open spots, those little sit routes at about 6 yards, and have Simeon Washington. You got to put it on them quick.
Washington on the keeper. Simeon Washington into the end zone, touchdown.
And a good answer. They didn't rush. They didn't go tempo too quick. A lot of time left in the game, and we've seen a lot more zone read from Chad Hunnebrinker, offensive coordinator. And I think Simeon Washington is at his best, Mike, when he's running the football.
Well, that's a good point, and he certainly made his way there that time on a 16-yard run. Virtually untouched, and the touchdown. Now the extra point here, they had missed an extra point earlier on a touchdown because they had that reading, potentially could have went for 2 here. I know there's still a lot of time left, but now it's still a 5-point ball game with 7:57 left.
We talked about special teams, right, playing a big role in this game, but here's Simeon Washington, the outside linebacker disguised as a quarterback. Zone read, he gets it in. 3-point ball game.
The number 1 prospect in all the land, to Davion Clowney.
There's Clowney in the backfield. The handoff, and there's Clowney. Wow!
He's too quick. The guard can't block it.
What a hit! Ball's free!
Not many guys that get off the ball and rock people like Clowney.
See you in the NFL, number 7.
Now let's take a look at some of the top schools here in the recruiting classes by ESPN Recruiting Nation for next year.
Well, no surprise Ohio State, but I tell you what does surprise me. Penn State at 4. James Franklin doing an unbelievable job there. And then Michigan at 10. Jim Harbaugh bringing some life back to the maize and blue. So good job by these Big Ten programs. Listen, no mistake. The bottom half of that Big Ten needs to pick themselves up a little bit to catch Ohio State, and it's good to see Penn State and Michigan with top 10 recruiting classes.
We've got 33 seniors among the ESPN top 300 playing this weekend here on the ESPN networks. 9 of the 20 teams that we have on the air won state championships last year, including these 2 right here, Benedictine and Central Catholic. And Central Catholic, their first 9 drives of the game, 3 points. The last 3 drives, they've scored 3 touchdowns. And Benedictine's Jalen James on this kickoff recovery, and now with first down and 10, the 5-point advantage. You're Benedictine. What are you doing here?
Well, I tell you, the momentum, no doubt, is with Central Catholic. But if you're Benedictine, you go out and do exactly what you did in that last drive. You pound the ball with your running backs, Dantes Rash, DeClavion Reese, and then you pick your spots when you want to throw the ball. Devon Johnson, he only has 3 catches. He's been everywhere. You feel like he's had 10 catches today, but pick your spots. But just do what you did that last drive, methodically move this ball down the field and try to answer the score of Central Catholic.
This is a team last year at Benedictine that was 75% run and 25% pass. We've seen decent amount through the air today, but here's the Cavalon Reese and the first down run to the 45, a 12-yard gain.
And this is the mark of a championship team on both sides of the ball. You got 7 minutes and change left in the game. Can the offense grind it out, grind the clock out, go down, score, put the game away? And on the other side of the ball, can the defense stop that offense, get the ball back for their offense, and potentially win the ball game?
Possibly changing it up here with 4 wide. Reese again in the backfield, and again he gets the call, and this time Central Catholic is ready for him. What about the Cavalon Reese? He's a junior. He scored 116 points last year for this team. That was the most as he have a look coming from him maybe next year?
No doubt about it. Only a junior. You know, him and Dantes Rash, very, very similar. Same in size, 5'11", 195. You know, Reese is actually a little bigger and only a junior, so no doubt the MAC schools will be drooling all over him. But I got a feeling with his running style, it's going to be some bigger programs, Big Ten schools knocking on the door at Benedictine for DeCavallon Reese.
Second and 9, pass play. It's caught. Spencer Johnson and dragged out of bounds by Marcus Easterly of Central Catholic, about a yard shy of the first.
And that's where I want Spencer Johnson as a receiver. You run a good route, you make the catch. Know where that first down marker is. Get low, extend for it, and pick up that first down. Now it's third and short. You never know what's going to happen. When you have the opportunity to pick up a first down, you got to do it. We'll see here. This Central Catholic defensive front can hold.
Big play here, 3rd and 1 for Benedictine, and it's a snake, and Scheffler has it easily. First down to the 40, and picks up 6.
Yeah, and that's right behind TJ Beltavsky, the big center, 6'1", 300 pounds. Verbal to Ball State for Pete Lembo. And look at the push, look at the drive, look at Beltavsky lead the way for his quarterback, Brian Scheffler.
Also on the right side of the offensive line, Donovan Corlew is another player who has really the potential for the next level too, Rini. He's
only
just a junior.
Yeah.
Yes. Fresh set of downs for Benedictine from the 40. Reese ekes out 3. Come up on the 6-minute mark here to go in this contest.
And the one thing that's really impressed me with both Reese and Rash is their footwork initially to make that first guy miss. You know, that time Central Catholic, you know, looked like they were going to have him for a tackle for a loss, and they got really good footwork to elude that first guy. And yeah, you only pick up 3 or 4 yards, but it's a positive pickup instead of a loss.
And they're going to keep it on the ground, and that's now Dantes Rash as they change it up, and he gets to close to the 30-yard line for another first down. So, you know, you've talked about both of these guys, Rudy. You were a runner yourself when you played at UMass. I mean, you talk about what they're looking for and what, you know, teams at the next level are looking for, and you got 2 solid guys here from Benedictine as they get another first on another sneak by Scheffler.
And you like the effort, and you see great effort out of all the backs today. But again, Dantes Rash on that run previous to this first down, Ian Meacham, 62, had him tackled for a 4-yard loss in the backfield. He's not able to break that tackle and pick up a pretty good yardage, and now they pick up a first down with a quarterback seat behind that big offensive line, and they're doing what a championship team does. Burn the clock, go down, and try to put a score to put this game away.
Rash met this time by Simeon Washington. And great effort on the defensive side for the quarterback on the offensive side for Central Catholic.
You better block the outside linebacker. You can't give him a free run. From the left side of your screen, Simeon Washington, 16. No one blocks him, and he's got a free shot at Dantes Rash, and he takes advantage of it. You know, you got to block down on that outside line, but you can't let him crash down like that.
The coaching staff, when we talked to him this week, and Greg Dempsey, saying that he really has the opportunity and potential to be a defensive player at the next level.
And I think he has that look to him, that toughness. I think he will probably play defense at the next level.
Second down. Scheffler, pressure by Washington, he dumps it off, and it's caught by Lacey, and then he is just taken down by Zach Sandwich. And that's the verbal to West Virginia. Sandwich, 70th ranked outside linebacker by ESPN recruiting the senior.
You know, it doesn't seem like much, but good job by Lacey catching this ball. It keeps the clock moving, comes back, doesn't gain anything. Excellent job, of course, by Sandwich coming inside out to make the tackle, but, you know, little plays like that makes the catch. Clock still running.
Crowd rising to their feet here in Toledo at Gallagher Stadium, and a timeout taken by Benedictine. They'll have 1 left after this. We will be back. A crucial 3rd down for Benedictine. And Central Catholic come up with a stop. 3:44 to go. We'll be back after this.
Geico ESPN High School Kickoff is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Two teams defending state champions here today in a packed house from Gallagher Stadium in Toledo, Ohio. Mike Corey, Rini, and Golia, good to have you with us. 28-23, 3:44 to go in this game. Benedictine has the ball. It's a crucial 3rd and 11. Rini, what would you do if you don't pick up the first down here?
I think they're going for it. They know they have 2 down, so Joe Lafferty, offense corner, you don't have to pick it all up on this down because I think you're going for it regardless.
Scheffler. Well, he's going for it deep, and it's caught by Devon Johnson for the 1st and more down to the 12-yard line. He has been the go-to target today in the wideout department, especially with the injury of Justin Lane. A huge catch.
Yeah, Johnson's going to be coming from the right side of the screen. He was lined up in the slot to the left. Just a deep drag across the field. Good protection up front by the Benedictine offensive line. Gave Brian Scheffler plenty of time to get to the ball to Devon Johnson on that crossing route. Picks up a huge first down.
And now Greg Dempsey on the Central Catholic sideline has to start thinking about what he's going to do with his 3 timeouts here.
Timeouts, absolutely.
3:15 left. The Cavallon Reese inside the 5, stayed on his feet, and just shy of the touchdown. Zach Sandwich was there, among others, to bring him down, and Benedictine's on the doorstep.
Again, impressed with Reese and Rash. They just run the ball really hard. Good look at the block down by the offensive line. Donovan Corlew came down inside with a down block. Give the ball to Reese running downhill. Doesn't get it in, but it's 1st and goal at the 1.
Reese is over 170 yards rushing in this game. Rash has 62. It's been a dangerous combination by both of these guys today.
Give credit to Austin Falconis, Nate Moore, TJ Beltavsky, Armin Rivera, and Donovan Corlew. That offensive line for Benedictine. They have opened holes up for the running backs, and they've given Brian Scheffler time to throw the ball as well.
It's Reese in the backfield. He gets the call. The Cavallon Reese stretching. Still shy. No signal for the touchdown, and they hold him once again.
Well, I mean, that almost plays against Central Catholic.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you don't want them to score. Obviously, you got to try to hold them out, but clock's still running. I thought Reese, from my vantage point in the booth, I thought he broke the plane. Remember, I love to say it, Mike. The plane is it's like a sheet of water straight up.
It's got to touch it.
Off the ball, just puts a bubble on it, a ripple on it. You've broken the plane.
Robert Gaston, 33 there.
Yeah, I mean, the ball's clearly across the line. The question is, was the knee down before that ball broke the goal line? We'll get a really good look at it here. That's a touchdown, Mike.
I was going to say.
I know
he's not.
I'm a former running back. But even if I wasn't, it's a touchdown.
You'd be upset that they took that one away from you. You'd be like, I just scored. The championship drive to the college football playoff begins Monday at 6 p.m. right here on ESPNU. Get an in-depth look at who's in and who's out exclusively on ESPNU. Don't miss it. Presented by Capital One.
And just, next week with college football kicking off.
Cheers.
Exciting year. Listen, what a great 2014 with the college football playoff. If the excitement can be half of what it was in 2014, I think everyone would be excited for 2015.
It's going to be even better.
It's college football is the best. There's no doubt. The pride, the pageantry of the programs, and you never know this year who's going to step up.
It is 2nd and goal from inside the 1. Sneak by Scheffler. Does he have it, or does Central Catholic keep him out again? It looks like they may have done it again. No signal. No touchdown. And another timeout taken.
Well, and down here, Mike, I don't like the sneak as much because everyone's up to the line of scrimmage. Give it to your back, to Cavallon Reese, 200-pound back, run downhill and say, you got to get a yard, young man. You got to get a yard.
And I'll tell you, though, as impressive as it's been by Central Catholic defensively here, because they've made essentially 3 stops close to the goal line. I mean, or 2 right here, I should say. It's third down. They're obviously going to go for it if they don't get it, so you got to do it 2 more times here. I mean, if you're going to go for it at the 30, you're certainly going to go for it here. So the clock.
I mean, the percentages are behind you. You got to hold them out, keep them out 2 more times, and then you got to get the ball back on downs at the 1, and then you got to go 99 yards to try to win the game. We've seen crazier things happen, but I tell you what a great ball game this has been with 2 defending state champions in the state of Ohio.
14th play of the drive coming. 6 minutes, 2 timeouts chewed up. So Joe Schaefer and his staff, they did exactly what they wanted on this drive, but got the ball back with just under 8 minutes to go.
I mean, they did exactly what they wanted to, sustaining the drive, burning the clock. Now they need to punch it in the end zone, and that'll finish it off. But I would go, if it's me, I'm going to my big back, whether it's Rash or Reese, get them a little head start and get them in the end zone.
Well, they got Rash in there right now. They haven't had a problem picking up a yard most of the day today. Now Rash diving over the line. He's in. Touchdown. Dantes Rash. Benedictine at 6.
And that's a lost art. You don't see it as much anymore. The running backs kind of taking flight. Used to happen a lot in my day. Not as much anymore, but I love the urgency from Dantes Rash to get that ball across the goal line.
Rash now with 2 touchdowns today. There's Armand Rivera, the offensive lineman, the right guard. He's down. Let's see if he's going to be okay. They attend to him. Rash, he's a little gingerly walking on the sideline now as well. And I think, you saw it earlier, some cramping.
Today. First game of the year, these guys are just getting out of their 2-a-days a few weeks ago. And again, it was a humid day today. These kids needed to hydrate 24, 48 hours ago. Unfortunately, a lot of times they just, the coaches are telling them, they just don't do it. But, good job of the right side of that offensive line. Armand Rivera, who's down, that was the side they ran to. Excellent job by Rash to smell out the goal line and get it in there. And that's a championship drive by Benedictine. Burning out a lot of clock, a lot of plays, first down, causing Central Catholic to burn their timeouts and gets it in. Just look at the push there, right there. Look at the effort by Rash to go above, get over 59 to get into the end zone. Joel Jones, and just great effort to break the goal line.
And there's 78 in white. He just kind of shot right through, and that's Rivera. He's the one that's down, but didn't really look like he got hit. 2 touchdowns today by Dantes Rash. 2 touchdowns by Devon Johnson receiving. A big 84-yard touchdown run by DeCavalon Reese, the skill players for Benedictine. And top prospects today, with Justin Lane and wide receiver, even Warren Sabo. We haven't seen him too much of the wideout position. Played well in defense, though, number 17 for Benedictine. Let's take a look at some of the top prospects here in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ohio is underrated in the nation when it comes to high school football players. You hear, obviously, Florida, and you hear Texas, and you hear California. Good brand of football here. This is fertile recruiting ground for the Big Ten. And then, of course, the MAC schools come in. They're like a frenzy to the players that the Big Ten doesn't recruit. And you see right there, Ohio State has a stronghold in their own state.
All right, so Rivera gets up and heads to the sideline. That's good to see. A junior, definitely potential for the next level. First-year starter for this team. Put on about 40 pounds, coaching staff was telling us. And could also be a defensive line starter, but they wanted to keep him on the offensive side.
But Mike, who would have thought coming into this game, the number 254 player in the ESPN 300, Justin Lane, we wouldn't hear anything out of on offense. But you had huge days from Dantes Rash to Cavalion Reese in the backfield, and then Devon Johnson. And that's a mark of a great team when your star player really doesn't do anything, but other players step up and have great games.
There's Lane right there, number 13, the commit to Michigan State, but also plays defensive back, and as a corner last year had 8 interceptions midway through the year, had 7 tackles here today. So when you look at Michigan State, we talked about their wide receiver group with the 2 seniors coming back, and of course Connor Cook at quarterback. How about in the defensive back department? They've got 3 deep. If you go 3 deep in the secondary, Michigan State, if you will, they'll only lose 3 seniors off of this year's team for next year. I mean, that's just kind of something to look at. Michigan State, a team that's just outside the top 10 in recruiting.
And Justin Lane is that type of kid, though, that you're recruiting that athlete that you want on campus, and you could put him in at receiver if you need him. If you need him at the defensive secondary, you move him over there. He can do special teams. That's what a lot of times these kids get recruited as athletes.
Michigan State's recruiting class here.
and it's a good class. And you see Lane right there, the number 41 ranked wide receiver, Austin Robertson, number 20 defensive end. Again, those defensive end positions, that's a premium position to get that pass rusher. Obviously, Nick Bosa down in St. Thomas Aquinas going to Ohio State. Premium position. So a lot of times on colleges' recruiting boards, you will see defensive linemen, in particular defensive ends, that the highest rated player.
Oh, look at this. Off of a Central Catholic player. It's going to be picked up by Benedictine. Jason Tycho as it went off of Richard Jackson Jr. for Central Catholic up front. And Benedictine gets it back in midfield.
Yeah, and it was not an onside kick. They were just trying to squib kick it, but unfortunately what happens is sometimes the guy on the front line gets drilled with the football. That's what happens here. It bounces back right off his foot.
Not much you can do about that.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens. I played that position in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills, that 5 position right over the ball 10 yards away, and you got to be leery of it. It happens. You got to be able to, really what you want to try to do is jump out of the way of that thing, let it get by you so the second level can field it, but easier said than done.
Well, Coach Greg Dempsey there, you saw on the sidelines for Central Catholic, would have loved to have another chance here and make it even more interesting, but 12-point lead now for Benedictine, and really the crucial play on that last drive, they had that big 17-yard completion on 3rd down and 11. They almost had stopped them, and then they ended up killing up a lot of time going up for the touchdown.
But you know, obviously Coach Greg Dempsey, when it's all said and done, he'll be upset. You want your team to win. But at one point, it was 21-3 Benedictine.
Sure.
And I think people were getting ready to leave this stadium. And listen, they turned it on. That's the mark of a good team. They came back and made this one heck of a ball game, and it was close all the way to the end.
Well, we have co-MVPs here today for Benedictine, and our MVPs brought to you by Geico. Let's take a look at it for what they've done here today. The Cavalon Reese, he's one of them with 173 yards this game.
Yeah, 17 carries, 173, just explosive. Ran downhill between the tackles, ran to the outside, just did it all. And then Devon Johnson, number 9, stepping up with some big catches. We look at his numbers, 4 receptions, 105 yards. There's a kid that only had 160 yards receiving all season last year. What a huge game for those 2 young men. Step up today, especially with their star, Justin Lane, really not producing on offense at all.
False start. And Devon Johnson, who's a senior, a 3-year starter, and probably will get a few more looks here, a little bit more attention now after we saw what he did here in this ball game. He keeps this up for the entire season, certainly one of their top threats. And they'll use up some clock here with Rash. What a great game for him. 2 stellar teams that may meet up again come the postseason. They're both in Division III here in the state of Ohio, and in this Northwest Ohio matchup here today that sometimes doesn't get as much action as the rest of the state. Well, there's some talented players out of this group. That's why we're here, and it was good to see.
Make no mistake about it. Northwest Ohio, this Toledo area has great football players, and they proved that today, no doubt about it. Listen, what a matchup for the first game of the season to have 2 defending state champions who are now in the same division, who may meet once again down the road.
It's going to be 4th down for Benedictine, but the clock is under a minute to go. Still more games to come this weekend. Our ESPN High School Football Kickoff presented by Geico.
And that Archer game coming up, that Archer Peachtree Ridge in Georgia. Kyle Davis, the number 1 rated wide receiver by ESPN Recruiting Nation. He's an Under Armour All-American for Archer. Keep an eye on him.
De La Salle and Trinity as well. And then tomorrow, Miramar and IMG Academy out of Florida. That's right here on ESPNU at 2 o'clock. Some great players in that game, including 15th ranked senior Malik Henry with a quarterback verbal commit to Florida State. That's all tomorrow at 2 o'clock right here on the U.
Yeah, absolutely loaded with talent this whole weekend. And again, these are the college stars that you will see in the future, and it starts here.
Benedictine from Cleveland, about an hour and a half away, on a great contingent down here this morning. You said got off to a 21-3 advantage. The lead was cut to 5, and then they separated themselves on that last drive and got the kickoff back. And they'll use their final timeout. But what an atmosphere here today in Toledo at Gallagher Stadium. And Charles and Diane Gallagher, 1956 and 58 graduates of the school. We talked to Charles earlier today what they've built here, the stadium. It's 6,500 seats, chair packs, a scoreboard. The tailgating goes on for a long time earlier before the game. We're in a beautiful press box with suites and, like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable weight room dedicated just to the football team, great locker rooms. And listen, these private institutions, a Catholic school like this, you need big donors to step up, and Mr. Gallagher has been invaluable to this program, to this school, to these students, and kudos to him.
Absolutely. Honored before the game here today, and good to talk with Dane Sonsenbacher, one of the former players here for Central Catholic and also Ohio State football great. Here it is earlier today with Charles Gallagher, and that was John Stainbrook presenting the proclamation from the governor of Ohio, John Kasich, who's running for president.
He's a little busy. He's trying to get the GOP nominee.
So not here. And Father Matthew Rader and Tom May, the president of the school,
who we spoke to. And everyone's really passionate about the school, not only athletics, but the school in a whole. And it's just it's refreshing when you come and do games like this to programs like Central Catholic and Benedictine as well. Listen, give Joe Schaefer credit.
Absolutely.
Good young coach, former defensive end. He has that mentality as a head coach. This was a business trip for Benedictine. There he is right there. Came up here, got on the bus today from Cleveland, came up here. Big win for his school.
Just 2 seconds to go. We've got more high school football coming up. Peachtree Ridge taking on Archer from Lawrenceville, Georgia. That's right after us. Should be a good one down there.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch the rest of these games this weekend. And just so far has been a great opening weekend. Opening high school kickoff weekend, and it'll end with a bang, no doubt about it.
Last year when those two teams met, Peachtree with a 14-10 win over Archer.
Georgia's one of those other states. Don't sleep on the talent in Georgia. They are loaded.
Final play of the game. Dallas Fields with the carry for Central Catholic, and that will do it. Benedictine 35, Central Catholic 23 in this battle between two state champions from last year. That's all for us. For Radian Goli and Mike Corey, so long from Toledo. More of the Geico ESPN High School Kickoff on ESPNU. Coming up next, Peachtree Ridge High School and Archer from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Thanks for watching. So long from Toledo, Ohio.